Hello, Snarmarks, everybody. We are a very funny podcast out of the Central Valley of California. I'm Andrew. That's Dusty.
Hey.
And this is my good buddy, Kai. How you doing?
Ooh,
I
I'm
guess
good.
Dusty's good buddy as well.
Yeah, I'm friends with Dusty too.
We're
What the
buddies.
heck?
Everybody's buddies.
Oh, I guess I'm just a buddy with Dusty, not a good buddy.
No,
Yeah.
come on, good buddy. It's
God damn it, I should have called her a good buddy.
yeah. Oh man.
Uh,
Thinking about
follow,
it
us
all
on,
week now.
follow us on all the socials at SnarkMarksPod on Instagram and Twitter. Dusty at SnarkMarkD on Twitter. I'm at Andrew Idell on Instagram. Like the YouTube video. Hit the like button. It looks like a thumbs up. Hit that freaking button, okay?
Just
You guys
one
have
time.
any comments? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys got my back on this?
I'm not out here on my own, am I?
It's fucking me up, guys.
Really, we need engagement. Give us the engagement.
Yeah, we put the gay in engagement, don't
I
we?
want the robots to know that we're engaged.
Oh man, people like this. I should recommend it to more people. That's what the
Oh,
robots say.
That's what engagement means.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Oh.
as a marketing person, Kai, I hate to be the first one to tell you what engagement.
The robots need to know that you're engaged. You and Andrew?
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's what it is.
I'm not ashamed.
No,
I'll tell every robot I see.
it's 2024.
As soon as I get out of here, I'll tell my washer dryer about it.
Of course he's gonna be proud. Look at me.
Yeah.
You know.
Like,
So this is the what is this? The fourth? I don't know. It feels like the 97th installment of our comedy movie run. Didn't expect this to last 2 months, did we, Dusty?
Well, I did. I don't know. You are you're like a falling star when it comes to any of our planned series. About halfway through, you lose the steam of anything
I
that
listen.
we're
That's,
doing. I don't want to say that's indicative of your personality type,
that's
but
it's a bit of a cycle. It's
yeah,
a bit of a cycle.
far
We're trying
be
to
it
break
from
through.
me. To,
I was really into cricket for a while. You know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because the Olympics are on, and I'm very intensely into the Olympic games right now, even though I don't know the rules to any of them. I have to look up the rules for every single one I watch, and I'm like, handball. What the hell is handball?
I could be an Olympian in handball tomorrow. By the way,
Dude.
I was looking at it.
Yeah,
I could do it. I feel like that's one thing that like you pick up for 4 months and you're one of the best in the world.
like not quite soccer, not quite
Right.
basketball, not quite lacrosse. It's like
I've had so many conversations about this recently. Like, what sport do you think if you started today, you could be an Olympian at in your lifetime?
Well, I'm very young, so probably any of them. But
Yeah.
I would say handball. I think it's handball.
I think that's as easy as you think it is.
You just fucking run and throw it in the thing. You know what I mean? I could throw.
I feel like I could figure out archery in my lifetime. I think.
You could probably do that.
I
These
feel
guys
like
are
I
freaks,
could
though.
Yeah, archery is hard.
See, this is the thing, though.
But that's because
Archery's
I'm not good at archery, so I don't. I don't
archery's a much bigger pool.
That's
How
true.
many handballers have you guys met? You know what I mean?
Yeah, this
Except
is
for
the
the euphemism.
secondary. This is the secondary part of the conversation, which is how did these people start this sport as a career, like handball, badminton? Like, did they fail at volleyball and then they started? They're like, I guess I'll be an Olympian in badminton, bandminton, whatever the hell.
Not as good at tennis.
Bandminton
Yeah,
is when you
exactly.
is when you hit them with cymbals.
Ba-
It's bandminton.
Better than ping pong, not quite tennis.
Right.
Badminton.
Like
Badminton's pretty dope.
who and where in your lifetime do you decide that that's going to be what you do? You know
Well,
what I mean? Like,
And it doesn't pay shit. So
Right.
like a lot of these people have to have other jobs, and like even if you win a medal, you have to pay taxes on it. Like it's really stupid.
even the popular sports don't get paid that much. So like, how do you are like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be a professional ping pong player. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, because
who
like in
starts that conversation?
swimming, you better be Katie Ledecky.
That was
Because-
wild.
That's my favorite thing to watch is Katie Ledecky crushing.
Just stomping on motherfuckers.
like
Essentially lapping them in the pool.
we watched the time trials the other day, and it's like the camera can't keep the whole pool in focus because she's so far ahead of everyone else. Like she's halfway done with her lap while everyone else is finishing their previous lap. It's crazy.
Which is wild if you think about it, because I was talking to my swimming friends that were like really good swimmers in high school, and they're like, she doesn't even have to do all that. Like, she's winning by
Right.
a lot. She could like slow down if she wanted to. Like,
But
she's
I
just
think to
No,
become
proving a
an
point.
I want to step on their
Yeah,
throats, bro. I want them to only have me on the score. I mean, on the TV.
Yeah.
Oh, Adele's got him by three fifths of the pool.
You
And
want
I'm
it
just
to be,
thinking
you want it
he's
to have
probably
to be,
saying I got him by 3/5 of the pool right now.
You want it
I'm
to
just-
be that they have to split screen it to
Yeah.
have you
Yeah.
and the other people in it. Yeah, I think.
I'm backstroking.
Yeah, I think what it proves
Stopping for
is
a
the
snack.
mentality of a person like me to say, "Oh, if I were that good, I wouldn't try as hard all the time." Is the reason why I don't have that dog
Yeah.
in me. You know, like
That's
'cause
it.
none
You
of
gotta
these
be a
people.
throat stepper.
Yeah, none of these people are a half measure kind of
Mm-mm.
person. That's why you become an Olympic badminton player, because even if I were really good at badminton, I don't think I could do it, because I'd be like, oh, how stupid is it that
Yeah.
I'm very, very good at badminton? Like,
How about those people shooting pellet guns with the fucking Matrix
Yeah.
goggles on? Like,
oh, dude,
Right.
it's
Who
and
decided
it's so.
to start that?
Well, I think the handball thing really is like a dude who was like, okay, I don't want to run as far as a soccer field. That's no good. And I can't.
Yikes.
I don't want to shoot a basket. Like, the athletic ability it takes to be a basketball player is too much.
Mm-hmm.
I can't afford lacrosse sticks. What if I just had the ball and I could just throw it real hard at a net? But
Problem solved.
yeah, I think it's. I was thinking about the Olympic skateboarders, because we watched some of the skateboarding. And that's a thing too, where I'm watching the commentators and they're like, "Oh man, he did a backside nollie front grind or whatever." Nope, I have no
Not
way
a
to
clue.
know. Yeah, it looks
Not a clue.
cool. He's
We
doing
were
a
watching synchronized diving last night, and we're like, that looked good, and they're like, God, that was an awful dive, and we're like, it looked great to
Yeah.
us. Like,
Yeah.
how
That's
do you
the tough
judge
thing.
that?
They're like, that guy should be embarrassed to even be on this stage, and you're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
looked all right to me.
My girlfriend and I were watching surfing, and we were like, "Oh yeah, they did great on that one." It's the same exact thing, and it's like we
Yeah.
didn't understand. And then by the end, we're like, "I think that's a 13.5." you
Yeah.
know, like
That's-
we're experts in like 15 minutes.
Or I was watching the men's gymnastics. This was my other point, was like, the men's gymnastics looks hard. I understand. Like,
Mhm.
that takes so much athletic ability. But like,
Why do they
when
run
I
like
watch
that?
when I watch the skateboarders, I'm like, that guy's a gold medal winner
Yeah.
at skateboarding, and he's gonna go try to talk to the guy who wins overall gymnastics gold, and they're supposed to be on the same
Yeah.
like the same
Totally
level.
different people.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. And then we were watching the pommel horse routine, and there was
Excuse
the
me.
guy for the US.
Our boy
There's like
Stevie, bro. He's
Yeah.
America's sweetheart.
Oh,
Dude's
he
a-
fell.
He's a specialist. They're like, all this dude does is pommel horse.
Oh, not that guy. The other guy
no,
fell.
different guy. Yeah, but this guy,
Yeah.
they're like, they cut to him at the beginning, and they're like, in 4 hours, this dude's about to do some shit that you've never seen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great. And then I watched it, and then I saw the other pommel horse guys, and I'm like, yeah, no, that looks hard. I certainly
Yeah.
could never do that. And then he did it, and I was like, yeah, I think it's like a little better. I can't tell. I don't know.
They all
Then they're
look
like-
hard.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm going to correct you, Dusty, is because pummel horse sounds hilarious, like you're just beating the shit out of a horse.
Is it?
But it's
what is it?
pommel horse.
Oh.
There's an O. But if there was
I think it's
pummel horse,
pronounced
you better
pommel
believe
in
I
some
would get.
countries.
I would be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I quick sidebar with you, Andrew?
Yeah, sure.
Just a quick sidebar.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome to stay.
Do you want me to
but
take
I'm
my
gonna talk
headphones
to
off,
Andrew
or-
for a sec.
Okay.
No, you're doing fine.
Okay.
Hey,
What's up, dog?
don't fucking correct me on the podcast.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Hey.
I know you've got it. Like, I know. I understand. It's a compulsion I have, Dusty.
Pummel.
Don't
horse,
embarrass
okay?
me in front of Kai.
Don't embarrass me in front of the wizard.
You can pummel my horse any day of the week, Dusty.
That's-
You can interpret that however you want.
I have one last thought on this.
Yeah.
On the rules section of your conversation.
yes.
I was watching women's rugby, and I was struggling to figure out what the rules are for that
Yeah, I have no
game
idea.
because they just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's like the wild, wild west out there. I don't understand if is there such thing as a foul? Like,
Yeah, I don't
are
know.
we just all going at it? I don't understand.
I just know they would all beat me up. There are like
For
3 or
sure.
4 sports in the world that all of them would beat me up, and
Mhm,
the
mhm,
women,
mhm.
you know.
Yeah, I don't want
Pretty much
anything.
every women's boxer will whoop my ass. There's like little like 105 pounders that I'd probably take care of. You know what I mean? But
probably
I
not.
guarantee
no, I'd kill him.
that
I'd
woman
kill him.
uppercuts you to death.
No,
For
I just
sure.
tackle her. I just tackle
For
her. It's
sure.
over. It's
No.
very
That's-
easy.
That is not
She'll kill
within
you.
the
We can
purview of the
sidebar
rules.
No, in boxing, she's beating me up. I'm talking about like we're hungry in a room with meat in the middle. Like
I think she'd still probably kill you.
No. Look, in any survival scenario, the woman who knows how to box is going to beat you.
I think
I'm so sorry to tell
listen,
you.
I don't want to be that guy.
But just
Uh-huh.
watch.
Fuck,
if
you guys
guys
are making me the misogynist. I have 30 pounds on this woman.
Doesn't
I'm gonna
Matt,
tackle
no.
her.
Patriarchy strikes again.
We don't know
Fucking
about
find
your
one, guys.
We don't know about
Find
your
one.
We don't know about your jaw strength, bro.
I understand you guys are in a public forum. And Kai's a girl,
You gotta-
so you guys can't admit that it's gonna be very easy for
you got
me.
a glass jaw. Let me tell you one more thing.
Yeah.
I
Gender testing. No, sorry, we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go
No, what we do need to talk about though,
there.
and this is a conversation that Kai is suited for. You and I, Andrew, had a little bet going.
we didn't have a stipulation on the bet. Thank God for the record.
About the success of last weekend's Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Or failure.
Well, we'll see.
Failure. Okay.
So,
I'll just get out in front of this.
okay,
I don't know the number.
no.
I do.
I think I was wrong as shit. I think I was wrong by like nigh half.
Oh, my friend.
I should have been right.
Yeah.
Still.
I believe your stipulation. You said what was it?
I said 99 million.
Okay.
In one day, maybe.
So,
Yep.
the box office for
Mhm.
Deadpool and Wolverine from last weekend is a scant domestic total of $205 million.
Yeah. So half.
Biggest opening weekend
Mm-hmm.
post-pandemic. Biggest R-rated opening ever. It's already made
Ever.
All
right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Spider-Man No Way Home, another Marvel movie, beat this movie's opening, but still biggest R-rated opening ever, $205 million. Biggest opening this year, but destroyed Inside Out 2, which made 154 on its weekend. It has also grossed worldwide 233 million. So this movie's already made $438 million
Jesus.
worldwide.
Or Marvel Jesus, I guess.
I'm not listening anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
With that said,
Yeah.
I don't know that this movie saved Marvel.
That's a tall
It made
order.
so much movie because people were like, hey, Marvel finally made something interesting again. It was a kinked hose, Dusty. You kick the hose and people are staying home, and then you finally make something watchable, and the hose goes, and all that water goes, and that's the sound it made.
For twice as much money as you thought.
Beautiful analogy.
That you thought it would.
I didn't expect the kinked hose. I'm sorry, I didn't foresee the kinked hose. It is just a testament to how shitty these movies have become.
Things have been bad. I think as a one-off, this is good. This movie will make a ton of money, but this movie doesn't mean anything towards the overall health of whether or not Marvel is still good. In fact, the movie might do more harm than good because most of the movie is pointing out how crappy the recent movies have all been.
Yeah.
So, like as an in joke, because Deadpool doesn't care because Deadpool lives outside of the movie universe. He's like,
right.
He knows that the last few movies have bombed because he's fourth wall breaking all the time. So,
yeah. I mean, I certainly don't think it's going to save anything either, but it was good.
Yeah,
I
had a good time at the movie. I might go see it again.
Yeah.
It was fun to see, you know. Saw it in a full theater. Wasn't super stoked about that because I thought that I had most of my row to myself for most of the time that I was waiting for the movie to
Would you
start.
go at like 10 a.m. or something? Why would you think that?
Well, no, because it was getting close to starting, and most of my row wasn't filled, and I was like, okay, looks pretty good. And then everyone must have been in line for concessions because it was full up by the time.
They all wanted that novelty popcorn bucket, huh?
I went on a Saturday. Movie opened on Thursday. No novelty buckets left.
Dude, there's so many suckers out there, bro.
They're very ugly. I don't know that I would. I mean, I bought a Star Wars Episode 1 cup for the re-release of that because that looked cool. But I don't know. Like, I would never reuse the Deadpool popcorn bucket. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't understand. Are people like cleaning these and putting them on the counter? I mean, on the bookshelf.
You know, it'd be funny as if it was like the designated puke bucket at your house. You know, like every house has a puke bucket. You could buy it for that.
That's true.
I have a yellow bowl here that's for that.
I don't know. I don't.
There's only a couple things you can do with that bucket.
Well, you can't really eat popcorn out of it the way that it's displayed there.
Well, it's got like one of these.
Right, but you have to turn it. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. That's
the tongue.
I don't like it. Yeah, that's not for me. I wouldn't be into that.
I mean, a little weird. There are some guys. I mean,
sure.
It is Marvel.
I need to just briefly touch on. Not every house has a puke bucket. Kai, I have to.
Oh,
yeah.
You don't have kids.
I don't.
Don't have kids. That's the thing. Well, Dusty kind of does have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if someone needs to puke? What do you do?
I don't know.
What do you do?
You guys puke?
Yeah. Andrew can't even puke. He doesn't. Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys?
There's a situation where a kid can't is puking a lot and they can't make it to the bathroom in time. So they're in bed. Instead of making them run to the bathroom, they just turn and puke into the bowl, right? No,
right.
That's not a thing.
I understand. I think I understand what it's for. I'm just saying. I think we're on a case by case basis. I don't know that there's a designated. I mean, I guess I have to check with my wife because I'm sure she has one, and I'm just unaware. I'm unaware.
Sounds like you just don't plan enough.
Yeah.
Sounds like you wash that puke bucket and use it for other things. Is what I'm hearing.
That is.
I don't know anything about it.
That's true. If you don't have a designated puke bucket, everything's a puke bucket.
What's wrong with just
you got a puke class salad
can?
Bucket?
What's wrong with just like a trash can?
I don't have. I don't know.
When
a little trash can.
Very good question.
When my cat's pooping a lot, I just put him in a trash bag.
Yeah.
Oh well, that'll kill him.
Yeah.
But the puke won't get anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're I'm
not going
about the puke
with a small child, but it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to revel in my defeat of Andrew.
It was the death rattle. It was like they're starting to flatline, and now they're like, hey, we're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back.
I am reserving judgment. I wish that they had cast somebody else. Just because I thought
should have kept Jonathan Majors.
I was kind of I'm into the Doctor Doom thing. I don't know about Robert Downey Jr. I think it opens interesting storytelling things, but it does smack a little bit of like, okay, we're bringing the dude back. Don't worry, and they brought back the Russo brothers who directed the Avengers movies. But why? But of course they are. They're a craven capitalist endeavor trying to make as much money as they can. So like, I can't.
They can have my money, so it's okay.
Sure, if it looks good, I'll go see it. If it doesn't look good, I'll go see it. I like going to the movies. So
I will say I haven't caught up on all of the recent Marvel endeavors, so I have been feeling as a fan and come over to Andrew's dark side. But if it looks good, I will see it.
Yeah, I don't have time for the shows. Like I can't do I can't do the shows. I got other stuff.
Who has the time?
On, Yeah, like having to do research for this podcast so that we can talk about the comedy movie bracket, including this week's movie, the 2005 smash hit, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which was nominated by me in the bracket.
Did you hear his voice when he said that?
Nominated by me.
Nominated by me. It was like he was admitting something.
No. I
You
stand.
stand by it. You stand by it. That's interesting.
We can talk about it. Look,
We will.
yeah, it's 20 years old. Nothing that's
We're
20 years
on
old
a podcast about it, aren't we?
stands up quite as well. So we can talk about it.
And I intend to, Dusty, talk about it with you in length.
That's fine.
Hand up. I was on board. Dusty, this has been a movie between Dusty and I that we have considered one of the funniest movies ever made since the inception of our friendship. Okay, so if Dusty's ship is going down, I'm going down with that ship.
Yeah, we're going down swinging, in fact.
Well, I don't think it's going to go down. It's 2 against 1, but it's
I'm the captain on the Titanic.
I've never really liked this movie, so I'm just a hater from the get-go. But I do like Judd Apatow films, if that counts for anything.
Yeah, I guess it might be the chick thing, might be the chick aspect, because like everybody liked this movie in 2005.
Your response.
I've heard that a few times.
No, so while we're getting into it, a little bit of context. So this movie comes out in 2005. This is the first Judd Apatow directed film. He had produced Big Daddy. He had written on the Larry Sanders Show for Gary Shandling. He's been a comedy guy for a while. Him and Adam Sandler were really good friends. He produced Big Daddy. But whenever he was making Anchorman, he thought of the Steve Carell sketch that he used to do in Second City, which was this 40-Year-Old Virgin sketch. It was essentially a guy has a quote unquote big secret, and the whole sketch is based around this idea that he's a 40-year-old virgin. So they decide to make the movie, but the only guy I found it interesting, the only guy with any real juice at this particular point in the movie, or when this movie's being made, is Steve Carell, because he had been in Bruce Almighty and Anchorman, and the first season of The Office had aired, even though The Office at this point not doing so hot.
Yeah.
And I guess a little bit Paul Rudd, but Paul Rudd's not Paul Rudd in this movie. No, like this is a movie where everybody's gonna be somebody, but nobody's quite anybody yet. Like there's so many people in this movie that go on to be very successful and have big careers, but none of them in this movie. So co-written by Judd Apatow and Steve Carell. It is the story of Andy, who is a 40-year-old man who works at Smart Tech, which is a sort of Circuit City Best Buy kind of store that I don't know anyone who is young might have any idea what that is.
Right.
At this point.
Well, there's a Best Buy around still.
Yeah, that's true. Listeners. There are Best Buys, but does anyone, except for people my age, go to Best Buy to buy anything?
No, certainly not.
Certainly not. They don't even sell DVDs anymore. So
Best Buy's fun, except for it's slowly kind of turning into Walmart. Like everything's all disheveled. All the
getting a little sad.
Shithead kids are leaving everything all over the place. Like all the computers are sticky. Like maybe it's just something I didn't notice when I was a kid because I was the one making the computer sticky. But it drives me nuts.
Yeah, it always seemed weird to me that Best Buy sold snacks also. Like there was the little snack area up by the cashier.
Dude, it's America, bro.
Yeah,
you're buying a TV and you're like, oh man, I haven't had peanut M&Ms in a while.
You know what will go great with this
40-year-old?
What'll go great with this 40-year-old virgin DVD? Some peanut M&Ms and a Coca-Cola. If only I could find them all in one place.
Man, I'm gonna be running on this Peloton a lot. I deserve the king size Snickers.
I think the one by where I live also sells kitchen equipment, like wholesale kitchen equipent at this point.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
you can't survive off of just selling techie stuff at all alone.
Yeah.
They're gonna be selling tires
soon. Well, that's your Walmartification
New Sears.
you were talking about. Yeah. There's going to be Best Buy produce section soon. So anyway, Andy works at Smart Tech. He works with Seth Rogen's character Cal, with Paul Rudd, and with what's his name?
Romani Malco.
Romani Malco. And they invite him to a poker game. where it is revealed that he is a virgin at 40 years old, and then they decide that it's going to be their job to help him lose his virginity. And so Andy gets out in the world, goes on a lot of dates, meets a woman named Trish, and that's sort of the generalized plot of the movie.
Trying to have sex.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well,
it's like trying to have sex. Because like he's also like actively trying not to have sex a lot of this movie.
I think that's where to me where it comes out as a sketch is because like this as a sketch is really easy. It's only like 3 or 4 minutes, and then you can get to the big punchline. But as a movie, you have to have like a big longer story to hang this premise on, and I think that's maybe where it gets lost in the weeds a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. My opinion of this movie has changed a lot on this watch. It's been probably it's 20. How old am I? 33. It's probably been close to 13 years, 14 years since I've seen this. This movie's story mattered a lot more to me on this watch than it ever has. Like, in terms of like,
because you are also almost a 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, it's just I can't wait for it to happen. I'm really hoping it happens someday. I moved into an apartment alone with a cat. I thought that was good. Everybody was gonna like that.
Right? You thought that was gonna be the key to unlock it?
No.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously, we're gonna get to the jokes. The jokes are juvenile. A lot of them don't hold up as well as some of the other movies that we watched, in my opinion. But like Andy's slowly starting to realize that he needs to stop fucking listening to these guys and actually just be himself, and everything's gonna be okay. I don't think it was lost on me back in the day, but it was like a lot more important to the movie for me this time as a 33-year-old watching this than it was when I was a kid just thinking, what are we, Al-Qaeda? Was very funny. You know what I mean? Like, so...
well, that's the thing to me. I think that is the reason why I like this movie as much as I do, because like you said, I don't know, we can get into it, that everything about it stands up, but it's a movie about a friendship, like male friendship and acceptance in the packaging of this kind of wannabe sex comedy. Like it has both things, but the real story is about
Guy gets it.
the male friendship part of this movie. And I think it to the movie's credit, one of the big things in it to me is or at least I found myself rooting for Andy, because Andy is not a bad guy. There in the movie, you don't ever see a situation where Andy is like exploitative or he's a bad person or he does a bad thing. He's just a dude who also happens to be a 40-year-old virgin, but his life generally is very full, except for this one aspect, like the relationship aspect. He's just a guy who works at a place. Like all the other guys that are bouncing off of him are flawed and bad guys to various degrees, but they all get better because they hang out with Andy. Like that's sort of the big story in the movie that also happens to have this other element of trying to be this sort of raunchy comedy.
I keep comparing this to, I watch Knocked Up probably once every couple of years. It's one of my favorite comedies of all time. So I compare it to that, which I have such a high caliber for, and I see the like fledgling of ideas that he started with this movie that he kind of carried on to that movie, which was like a group of misfits that were kind of, bums and had a lot of irredeemable characters. But what I feel like he accomplished in Knocked Up, but not in this movie, was like those characters in Knocked Up that were still misfits were like really likable still. And I just can't get behind liking any of the guys in this movie besides Andy. So I don't have like a lot of relatability to it. And that could be me being a girl too, but I just don't like connect with much of this movie on any level. except for being almost a 40-year-old virgin, but somehow still having a kid. You know, it's weird.
Yeah, Dusty's the only one on this podcast that's had sex before. So,
Yeah.
is it so? Kai, just curious, and I'm not challenging you. What do you think about Wedding Crashers?
I haven't seen it recently. I mean, I think it's kind of similar. I think there are a mixture of cast members that are also, there's also some female perspectives in there, but yeah, I think it kind of is in the same realm of 40-year-old virgin. I happen to like enjoy the jokes better in Wedding Crashers, but that might just be preference. I think they're similar movies though.
Yeah, I could see that because like the only reason I brought that up is because they're the two guys in Wedding Crashers are scumbags too, and it's like, so if maybe you liked Wedding Crashers more, maybe it was just because the jokes didn't carry the movie. You know what I mean?
And Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn are a little more charming to me, so I think that they get away with more because they have like a natural charm to them that I don't know. Paul Rudd has a charm to him, but he's also just kind of like depressing in this movie. So he lacks the charm.
I have to get out ahead of it though. Sorry, Dusty.
Oh, go ahead.
The performance that Romani Malco turned in for this movie is, in my opinion, an A-tier performance for a comedy movie. Like Paul Rudd, I agree with you. He's Paul Rudd. He's got his moments. He's very charming. Seth Rogen was just Seth Rogen as shit in this movie. Probably one of my least favorite Seth Rogens.
Definitely.
But he still had his moments. I think there were some moments where he was kind of finding his character, like because Seth Rogen plays a very similar guy in a lot of movies. Romani Malco, man, like pretty much every single one of my favorite, like funniest moments in this movie were Romani Malco. I got to find out what his character's name is, but he was Jay.
Yeah.
Jay.
I think Wedding Crashers ages worse.
Yeah. I haven't really watched it recently either.
There is some not great stuff in Wedding Crashers. Not to say that this movie's certainly holds up. Ahead of it.
They're all scumbags. It's a comedy movie about scumbags. You know what I mean? Right. So like,
but like, I think that the movie has to. I think Wedding Crashers has to do more legwork to try to make Owen Wilson likable from the start. Then Andy in the 40-year-old virgin. Like
Andy is the most likable person. Yeah. I don't think anyone would argue otherwise unless you're a monster because he's so sweet.
But that's the only way the movie works is if Andy is a good guy. And I think a lot of watching it this time, especially like a lot of the like crude or like sex jokes, they don't really work for me. I found myself laughing a lot at Steve Carell's reactions to things, and like his character is so well defined that they can bounce him off of all these other people, and his stuff is funny in relation. But, you know,
like going back to comparing it to Knocked Up, I feel like there are small roles in that movie that like you remember, and so like all of the roommates, all of what's his name? Seth Rogen's roommates. Yeah. They all have their kind of interesting characteristics, and they don't have a lot of lines, but they still are memorable. So I don't know if like, even though the story isn't centered around them, I think Judd Apatow found a way to make each character shine the more and more movies he made. I think he just kind of wanted Steve Carell to shine in this movie, and then the other ones were just props to build Steve Carell up. And I think you can accomplish that, that's fine. But I think in his other movies, he kind of got better at building characters up, but also letting them have their moments to shine too. And I just didn't feel that as much in this movie. It felt more fantastical than his other movies too. He kind of more now makes movies that are kind of I don't know the word I'm trying to think of. Like
they're more realistic.
More realistic and kind of like oh yeah, like that I've gone through that, or you can relate to more of it. And this one is more like out of the box, left field humor. And I think he kind of oh my gosh, not situational. What's it called when you like notice something? You guys.
Observational.
Observational humor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think that also comes from this being a sketch, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's more fantastical because, again, I think originally it's like, we don't have to think about all these other things because this is done in like 5 minutes, you know. And I do agree. Like, I love Knocked Up too. I think Knocked Up is very rewatchable and it's very funny.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's got Jay Baruchel, and I love that guy. So
I love him. I love him too.
And I think this movie, except for they spent a lot of time on Andy and Trish, the woman that Andy eventually finds in this movie, and developing their relationship to really invest you in this movie and ground you, which not a lot of movies of this type do. But that also means, like you're saying, Kai, a lot of the other characters are really kind of one note. Like that is like that is a fair criticism of the movie. And then it depends on whether or not you find that one note to be funny or not. Or good or not. You know?
The only thing I'll counter with is Jay, because Jay has a little bit of changing in what happens with him, because it's very little, but it's there. He's scumbag, and then he has the moment where he starts crying because he's insecure.
Yeah,
that part's very funny because that's right after the Kevin Hart thing, which is one of my favorite parts in any comedy movie ever. I think I watched. So, did you guys watch the unrated version or the normal version?
No, just
I watched the Amazon
version.
Prime version, whatever that was.
I think they actually have both options on Amazon Prime, but you probably watched the normal version. I watched the normal version because I was like, this movie's long enough anyway.
I was going to say, I don't need 20 more minutes of this movie that were cut originally.
It's probably just like 3. It's got 3 more boobs and you know. But I think the Kevin Hart scene is longer in the unrated version, which makes me want to go back and watch that part. But anyway, so Jay is like scumbag. He's like the leader of the scumbags. And then he has that insecure moment where he's crying because he got caught cheating. And then he admits that he should have been like, instead of Andy trying to be like him, he should try to be like Andy. And the thing that saves his relationship is he gets his girl pregnant. He's super proud of it. And then him and his girl are like, good. It seems like he's kind of learned his lesson at that point. You know what I mean? So like, there is, and I'm not saying that that's redeeming, because your guys' points are totally valid. I just like, I'm gonna ride for that character because I think his performance was so like literally like top tier. I've told you before, Dusty. Like, I think Romani Malco in this movie is like top 1% of freaking comedy performances like in the world. Like, I'm not kidding, and I think that character, he was better than Rudd and he was better than Rogan.
Yeah.
And it didn't save the movie for me, but it did in Carell was great. Like, Carell was Carell. I think some of the obvious ad libs were like, everybody loved the Kelly Clarkson line. I thought that was hokey and stupid.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
yeah. And the when he's just saying fuck, you know, when they're ripping the things off and he's like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, that was funny. But then when he started saying like Como Se Llama and Kelly Clarkson, like, those were trailer moments for this movie. And everybody would like quote him and like all that stuff. And it's just like, it shows you how much, I know I'm going in a lot of different directions. It shows you how much people's kind of comedy taste, the world's comedy taste has changed, because those were like big lines. You know how I know you're gay? Like, that type of stuff was like huge. My friend said it all the time.
I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like this movie, and I'm not trying to like get on a female pedestal, but it is very much male perspective, written for men. Like, they're sitting around the table playing cards. Like, that women don't really know how the inner workings of some men's conversations work in those moments. So it feels very much like it's written for men to enjoy. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay, guys. I'm not going to go on a diatribe about
Cut
it.
her mic.
Patriarchy strikes again, but whatever. But for me, that's kind of why I couldn't connect with it as well, as just like some of the jokes that you guys, or some of the storylines even that you guys probably relate to. I'm like, I don't care. You know,
the thing is, like, yeah, I get your point. This was like, there's dudes who talk like this. I'm not going to say there aren't guys who talk like this. This is still kind of an exaggerated version of it, obviously. But like, it is like, I, as a kid, I say as a kid, this movie came out when I was 25. I thought it came out when I was like 17. I'm almost like no, not 25. I was 15. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Thank God. I did the math
I
wrong.
don't think that that's right, but
I did the math wrong.
Yeah.
So like as a kid when you're watching it, it's like you don't think you're not like I want to be like these guys because they're making these guys obvious scumbags. Like you don't want to be like this, but you I guess relate to it more because you're like, oh, this is how adults talk. You know
It's like
what I mean?
locker room talk too. It's
Yeah.
just like you guys know that environment. It's also more excusable when you're shooting the shit with your guys and you guys can get away with a little more of that kind of raunchy talk, right? I mean, girls have their own version of it, but
no, but don't I know that?
Oh, are you a part of a lot of girl talks?
I've bugged a lot of living rooms.
Yeah, I would say that this is not indicative necessarily of my experience generally.
Sure.
With like, but
I've met these dudes.
Yeah. No, I've met these dudes. I know these dudes. But it is also in the time, like I think the pickup artist was like a big thing at this point, and so a lot of Seth Rogen in this movie is giving Andy advice that is very similar to like pickup artist kind of talk.
Yeah.
Like you have to be mean to women to get them interested in you, and like those are all things that I heard from dudes that I was like, well, I don't want to be like this dude anyway, so I'm not. But like, I think, and that's not to excuse that, obviously, but that is a archetype of a kind of dude. There is like all the other guys like are at least presented initially as kind of one note. So it's like I think of Seth Rogen as sort of the pickup artist, scummy dude. Paul Rudd is the over-attached, like weird, can't get over his ex dude.
Change my number.
Right.
Yeah. That was funny. And Seth Rogen going, and I didn't know all that.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry.
That was actually
that part
funny.
was
that
funny.
part was funny.
And then Romy Malfoy is the dude that
Malfoy.
Oh yeah. What is damn it, every time I say Malfoy. Jay, the character
Malco.
The character of
Romani
Jay
Malco.
After he was not in the Triwizard tournament, decided that he was going to become like a womanizer dude, and he
realized he couldn't be a Death Eater.
Right? Yeah, so he became sort of the player sort of archetype. So all these dudes are sort of these archetypes,
and he's compensating.
And
I guess it feels
compensating.
It feels more like archetypes than like actual people, right? I guess that's probably another reason why I don't like it as much as it just feels very like exaggerated and which is but I not mean to like keep comparing it, but I compare it in my mind because I'm trying to understand why I like one movie and not the other, because Knocked Up has a bunch of like deplorable bums that are not good guys. I mean, they're
don't they work for like Mr. Skin or something?
They're trying to create their own Mr. Skin website. Sort of.
Yeah.
It's a very funny
And
idea.
they don't know that Mr. Skin exists. And then that's one of the jokes in the movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but that's a very funny concept.
I would like you guys to watch it and like just text me after this so that I can understand why I like those characters better than these characters. I think most of it is that like the jokes aren't landing as well for me, and also like they just seemed a little more exaggerated, not as based in reality. Like it was like an idea of a person and not like a person, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I think these jokes, a lot of them, especially like the raunchy ones, are a lot more obtuse. Like there's not a lot of that in Knocked Up. Like Knocked Up is it's a still kind of sex comedy, I guess, but it's like a comedy about these two people who find themselves in this situation, and then his friends are just kind of there, and there are still raunchy jokes in it, but I don't think it's the same because the premise isn't this,
But I still laugh a lot at those guys when they're kind of feeding off of each other and having their kind of moments. Like there's a scene where sorry, we're not even talking about this movie, but there's a scene where Seth Rogen is kind of asking them to like hurry up the process, and oh my gosh, I can't think of anyone's names. Jonah Hill was like, I didn't go to Yale for 4 years
Yeah.
to work not 80 hours a week. And he's like, didn't you go to community college? And he's like, I went where I went, Jonah. So it's like those type of
I didn't go
like,
to Harvard.
and I
I didn't
misquoted
go to
that.
Harvard
Yeah.
for 4 years to work 80 hours a week. And didn't you go to Santa Monica City College? I went where I went.
I went where I went.
Which is, yeah.
It's so
But-
like those jokes are like funnier to me, where it's like more observational, I guess, and kind of a peek into it as opposed to like an archetype of like a joke, I guess.
Well, they're also not just centered around trying to get the guy laid in the scummiest way imaginable.
And it's,
so
there's
like,
more. It's more like just friends hanging out rather than an end goal.
I think the thing that Apatow cracked that sort of changed, like, because to his credit, for a long time there is the Judd Apatow style of comedy.
Oh,
that
he
dominated.
He ran comedy movies for
a decade at least.
And then we just can't make them anymore,
right.
like because and they do, like, so before people
because
start writing in and hitting the dislike button,
because comedy's canceled, Andrew.
Like the video.
You can't do comedy anymore.
Well,
no, I think the thing he
ahead.
cracked in 40-Year-Old Virgin that I relate to, that then he later perfected to a much better degree and Knocked Up, is that sort of like, this is how me and my friends sort of hung out with each other, in the sense that like we're making fun of each other. They understand pop culture. They are aware of the world around them. Like I remember going to see Knocked Up, and one of the scenes is like they're trying to figure out whether or not to buy Seth Rogen a ticket to Spider-Man 3 because they're fucking going to see Spider-Man 3. And I was like, shit, me and my friends go see Spider-Man 3. Like it feels very grounded in reality, coming out of the sort of Jim Carrey slapstick, like more fantastical movies of the 90s, which are these high concept, what if Jim Carrey couldn't lie, and then that's the whole movie.
Exactly.
This is,
and so maybe this is the perfect middle ground between the two, right? Like it's coming out of that, like I was just gonna say, like SNL skit type of movies that were made out of SNL skits, or just that type of like one note idea comedy movies, and then it kind of, he started this, and then he was able to transition this into like more people stories as well.
Yeah, and this is I mean, comedy's really changing at this time. This is also early internet. I don't know if you did, I kept thinking about because I was trying to think about like, man, comedy was different back then. Do you guys remember my new haircut? It was a YouTube video. Did you guys ever see it?
I did not.
No.
Okay, I'm going to send it to you guys. I'm not going to play it on the thing. I'm not going to say what the guy says in the video. It's not funny. Like, I watched it the other day. I haven't seen it in 20 years or close to that. It's not funny. My friends and I thought it was the funniest thing we've ever seen.
For sure.
When the early internet came out, and the guy's like, "This is my new fucking haircut.
Yeah.
You know what that means? I'm getting some fucking pussy tonight." Like it's and it's like, I would never laugh at that as a 33-year-old, and not because it's raunchy. You guys know me, but because it's just not funny. It's the joke is that it's raunchy rather than, there's no like artistry to it to get all highfalutin on you. But like, so we're coming out of American Pie and Scary Movie and all those things, and we're moving into this like Judd Apatow dramedy comedy art thing that he gets going for a little bit, that eventually turns into like even Superbad and Pineapple Express, which are raunchy, but they're really good movies. And like, which I would say we probably should have done one of those two. Sorry, Dusty Strickland, because he wanted Pineapple Express. But the comedy is like, because the internet changed everything. So like comedy is rapidly changing in the early 2000s, going into the mid 2000s. And this is what we thought was funny. This is when was Grandma's Boy released? Because Grandma's Boy is a lot of this stuff too. I think Grandma's Boy, what?
2004 maybe?
2004, yeah. And so it's not the same. I think the 40-Year-Old Virgin is really hurt by the fact that it's just about trying to get a guy laid. I think you plug the same intentions that made this movie into a different premise, and you might get something that's more relatable.
Yeah.
But they were playing in the era, and they were playing with a certain premise that was very sexual and very raunchy. I mean, I didn't realize how explicit the porn scenes in this movie were.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a girl at a table talking with her nipple out.
That was funny though. It was funny.
And not to have to connect everything to wrestling, but that is Diamond Dallas Page's ex-wife.
I knew there was something about her. I forgot what it was. I knew it's like that's somebody. I can't
Mhm.
remember who that is, but that's
Yeah.
wasn't she in like was she around in WCW? Wasn't
Yeah.
she like out there
She was
sometimes?
his
What's her name?
manager, Kimberly Page.
Okay, yeah,
Now we
okay,
know what
yeah.
her right nipple looks like, in case you forgot.
Yeah.
Just
pretty,
go back there.
pretty decent nipple. Not a
But
bad nipple.
they-
I haven't seen the left one.
They asked Diamond Dallas Page about it, like if he was upset that she was in this movie in that way, and he was like, "We were married for a long time, so like, it's not like I haven't, already seen it." So
That's not the question, Diamond Dallas.
yeah,
He's
but
like, "You're the man."
Millions of people also haven't seen that nipple.
but they were divorced at that point, I think. So,
The-
but
revenge.
I think
walking out of speed dating. Sorry, Dusty.
Oh,
Walking
go.
out of speed dating when Seth Rogen says, "You know who's the hottest one?" And you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna tell you, Gina. That line was pretty good.
See,
There's
and
some really funny concepts in this movie. Like, I'm not gonna discredit the whole thing. Like, there are some really funny concepts. Like, even her store where we sell your shit on, or sell your stuff on eBay, and that scene where Jonah Hill's trying to buy them in the store is a really funny scene.
Yeah.
The way that he
feel like-
says congratulations to Steve Carell after he asks her on the date successfully is
It's
so
great.
funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It feels like you're trying to make this really complicated. Why don't I just give you the money and you let me buy the shoes? And she's like, I wish I could. And he's like, but you can. Yeah, I feel like I also understand that this is not a style of comedy that is for everyone. And it's not just like, oh, I don't think that women would like this movie because it has so much raunchy stuff in it.
Yeah.
I know it's not a thing that's for everyone. And I don't find all of that stuff funny. I would say to their credit, like Trish feels like a very fleshed out real
I like
person.
Trish.
She was a good
Like,
character.
I enjoy
She's a good
her.
character,
And I enjoy
everybody
her
else,
for him.
like all the other women, again in the movie, unfortunately, they're all kind of one note too, because you don't spend any time with any of them. So
Yeah.
like Leslie Mann
was hilarious.
She kills it in this movie. Fucking French toast is one of the
French toast.
every single time. That's still a thing I quote today, and it's like, again, that's not one of the raunchy jokes. I just think that's so funny. And whenever she gets hit, when she gets T-boned, and she's like, "That fucker came out of nowhere." That's really, really funny.
And this is the first time I've watched the 40-Year-Old Virgin since I have had experience with being with a a stranger
Careful now.
woman who you slowly realize is a train wreck nightmare.
Yeah.
I've been puked on before. I
Not by
haven't
me.
told you that.
Not by me.
No, not by Kai. I didn't tell you about that.
No.
It wasn't a girl I was interested in. My friend was hanging out with her friend, and she was telling me about this back surgery that she had, and she puked all over me. Thankfully, I was insecure back then. I was wearing 2 shirts, made me look thicker. You know what I mean? So as soon as she puked on my shirt, I took the shirt off, and I was like, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay," and I got rid of my shirt.
Oh, I
and, like,
do remember this story.
And then she straight up puked on the second shirt. No,
we called her mom, and I didn't know this girl at all. I can't even remember. I didn't like. I learned her name like 15 minutes before, and we called her mom, and her mom walked in, and I was hammered. I had drank so much that night, and I was like, "Your daughter's very sweet, but she's very drunk," and her daughter's passed out on her face on the floor.
You're like, "Get this bitch
She's
outta
lucky
here."
it was me. She's lucky it was a nice guy,
Yes.
but like
You were like the Andy in that situation.
it was a white Henley. I have a picture of the shirt. It was a really good shirt. Never wore it. I threw it away.
When she puked on you, did you say? I kind of. Wait, what did he say? I kind of deserve
Did you have a
that.
daiquiri tonight?
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I said it's okay, because I knew she was gonna be embarrassed, so that's all I could say. It's okay. I'm taking my shirt off.
Wringing it.
Yeah. Don't be a guy named Dan. That's very funny.
That is funny.
But I think the way that it also works for me, at least, is like most of the uncomfortable scenes, you can be sort of an audience, or Steve Carell sort of your audience surrogate,
Mm-hmm.
like whenever they're at the nightclub and Jay is trying to coach him, and he's like, "See, the thing is, you're like a lion, and you got to find a gazelle," like, and he's like, "I don't feel like tackling drunk bitches or what, like he can't even really say it. He has to whisper it, and you're like, oh man, that's really awkward. But you're with Steve Carell. You're like, I don't want him to do that either. I hope he doesn't do that. Like,
yeah, 3/4 in the movie, I'm like, stop fucking trying to get this guy to do things.
Right.
Like, you're obviously just ruining everything for him.
Yeah.
I also feel really bad for him because obviously he doesn't have any friends, as well as being a virgin, right? Like he doesn't have any friends.
No, he's friends with
he's
his
a cool
upstairs
guy.
neighbor. They watch Survivor.
I know, but even
Wednesday
that guy
nights.
doesn't respect
That guy talks shit about that about him.
But yeah, I think it's like he's a man alone in the world because he doesn't have any confidence at all, and that's, I think, a thing in the movie where you again root for him. And I think this movie, because all of Judd Apatow's movies, maybe with the exception of Knocked Up to a degree, well, no, Knocked Up is about, they're all about men who are like man-child having to reckon with that and become real adults. Like that's the story of Knocked Up. That's sort of the story of Funny People.
Pineapple Express.
Even this is 40 a little bit, right? Like
this is 40, right? The
Paul Rudd's character.
Yeah, that Paul Rudd's character is kind of shitty. The only one who's not shitty is Andy, and that's actually the only thing that I chided up against this movie story wise is the scene where they're packing up Andy's toys because Trish is helping him sell them, and she does this whole monologue about how he needs to grow up, and like she's just trying to help him grow up and stuff. And I'm like, well, he's a 40-year-old dude who has a job, who can pay for his own apartment, who happens to like toys and video games. Like that's not, I don't think, that's not the same as Seth Rogen living with 8 dudes in his 30s, not getting a job because he hopes that his Mr. Skin website becomes successful. Like Andy is a fully functioning adult, except for he doesn't have these relationships. Like, he doesn't need
he's a
that,
sink.
but
he's a sink. He's a single income, no kids.
Right, but
listen,
right, but her, like, that's the only time where she's kind of unlikable in the movie to me. I know that they have to have some sort of conflict to then resolve that conflict, but I was like, that feels kind of lazy, because it's not like he lives in a basement with his mom or whatever, like he's a regular person. He just is not, and she doesn't even know that he's a virgin at that point. He's just some dude that she happens to like. Well,
she had been very patient with him, and she was like, because she's like bringing him into the normal world, like because I didn't see it as like he doesn't have friends because he's not confident. I saw it as he's one of those guys where it just never happened. He had a bunch of stuff go on and it just never happened. And he just settled into his lonely life and didn't even realize he was lonely. Like and then he starts to think about it and he's like, you know what? Like this hasn't, like, I don't have friends and I don't like do all these things. And he starts to feel the void because those guys like kind of pointed out in him, you know what I mean? And then he's kind of dealing with that. And then he's like, do I assimilate? Like this is putting me in a lot of really uncomfortable situations. And he tries to pull back. And then the one that makes him really want to break out of his shell is this girl, Trish. Is that her name? And then so Trish makes him want to pull out of the shell, and Trish is like, she embraces all of his differences, but she's still a normal person. So like normal people are going to be like, motherfucker, like I'm trying to have sex with you. Where I'm an attracted person.
Right.
There's been 20 dates, you son of a bitch, and like so I could see why she would blow up. But it's good that she came back and like, Kai, what were you going to say?
That just reminded me of another movie that I like that has like a similar concept.
Stop talking about other movies. I'm just kidding.
No, have you guys heard of course, I'm sure you've heard of it. Have you guys watched I Love You, Man?
You okay?
That's why you don't have kids, ladies and gentlemen.
That's my boyfriend. That's the grown man.
That's why you stay a virgin, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Yeah, I Love You, Man. I also really like, but that's another movie about male friendship. That whole movie.
But I like it more for some reason, and it's a similar concept. It's like about, I mean, he's not a virgin that we know of, but he doesn't have any male friends, and he's like the whole concept of the movie is him trying to find friends, and there is kind of a fantastical element to it a little bit where he's like going on dates with guy friends, but I don't know. And it has Paul Rudd in it.
Yeah, Joe
Yeah,
Joe
and-
LaTroy, all-time performance. The "Give Me All You Got" scene is one of the funniest things in the world.
That
Thanks
is
for
not his
setting me
name.
up with
Dusty.
Tickle Me Elmo.
My favorite thing about one of my favorite things about Dusty is that he gets everybody's name wrong.
What's his name?
It's like Joe Truglio or something like. It's not Joe LaTroy.
Hey,
Listen, I like LaTroy.
I didn't know his name either.
Can I
didn't know his
sidebar
name
with
either.
you for a second?
All right, give me a second.
I'll
If
go
you
over
wanna-
here.
Hold on, I'm
you go hang out.
Go.
Hey.
Chastise whoever dropped that cup.
What the fuck, dude?
Listen,
Stop.
dude.
No.
It's
No.
it's very funny. It's very funny.
Don't embarrass me on the 40-Year-Old Virgin podcast. This is
I'm sorry, Dusty.
my time to shine.
God damn it! I'm sorry. I love you, man.
Hey,
I don't
I
even
love you,
slap.
man.
I don't even slap at a bass, and even
Son
Joe
of
still,
a-
Truglio.
Joe LaTruglio.
Joe
Okay.
LaTroy. He was close.
But-
Dusty, you were so close.
Thank
It's
you.
always
But-
close. That's
yeah,
the best
yeah.
thing. I'm gonna start writing the names down because he's got a great memory for everything.
Yeah, but
He doesn't remember names for shit.
but think
Joe
about
LaTroy.
but you think about in our wrestling podcast days where I used to play the name game with you, and then you pointed out that the first name was always fake, and I never realized that was the case.
yeah.
So,
yeah, I found your pattern.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think those movies, like Andrew said, are all better because the premise is not so thin. Like, if we're talking about the story of this, like, or at least so one-dimensional.
Mm.
Like, the point of this movie is Andy's a virgin. How do we get him to not be a virgin? And then whether or not you like the rest of the movie, I think, is based upon whether you enjoy the journey that you go on with Andy.
Was this before all the SNL remakes, or not remakes, but SNL movies? Was Night at the Roxbury before this?
Yes.
It was, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like way
So,
before.
like, Night at the Roxbury, Superstar,
Yeah.
all the Austin
seems kinda
Powers
like
stuff
that.
was before this.
First of all, Austin Powers is a phenomenal movie. It should have been in your bracket, but that is
I
neither
tr-
here nor there.
we couldn't agree on which one because
I
I
know.
think
And I wasn't there. I
But,
wasn't there.
I think, yeah, and you had an opportunity. It would have been
So-
too many hens in the hen house, but we would have done it. It would have been 18
You mean
people on
one
podcast.
hen? Oh, I thought you were meaning like the one woman was too many
Oh,
women.
yeah, I mean it would have, but we've had one female guest ever on this podcast, and one's too many for my liking.
There's-
Hey,
I'll tell you
but I'm
that.
here. I'm back.
Because I'm gonna give, if we're talking about the story, like I give the story in this movie a 9, not the premise.
A 9?
For a comedy movie, this has
For a
a
comedy
very
movie?
good, like, it is so much more fleshed out as a story than
Yeah.
like than Dumb and Dumber, than a lot of the things that people count as great comedies, because you go on a real journey with Andy the character, and I think Andy the character is so likable. That's the reason this movie works better than it would work if you had someone else in it. Like, I think that you get in same thing with the Knocked Up. I think it works if you're invested in the story of the two main people. And
Here's
I'm
a thought
invested.
process for you, or thought experiment. Would you guys hang out with Andy if you worked with him?
I did hang out with Andy when I worked with him.
Are you
Dusty
saying
and-
Dusty is Andy?
No,
Dusty and I talked about this. There was a guy.
He's right there.
Yeah.
There-
Hey,
there
dude,
was a-
can I sidebar?
Can I sidebar? Don't fucking call me Andy on the 40-Year-Old Virgin
I've told
podcast.
you so many times.
No, Dusty and I worked with a guy, and I texted him like 5 minutes into me watching this movie last night. That was Andy. Is Andy still alive? As far as I know. But
Were you nice to him?
I hung out with him. He was my friend. He lived on my street, so I saw him a lot.
Was it you?
and-
Or is it you?
Yeah, it was me.
I'm forced to hang out with this quote unquote
I had to-
Andy.
You lived
I had to-
down my street in my house in Meriden.
His name, coincidentally, his name's Andrew.
in my,
So
in my body. Very strange.
no, but he actually, the only difference is he lived with his mom, but he drove. But he had toys. He liked video games. I don't think he was a virgin, but he might as well he should have been. Like, if he wasn't, like,
Be better for his
if
story.
something happened, nothing non-consensual, he wouldn't do that. I'm just saying, like, somebody made a mistake if he had sex at some point in his life.
Jesus
And,
Christ, dude. That's so mean. He's just like, I think Andy is an awkward guy, but clearly they like hanging out with him because
No,
he's
well, they hang out with him to make fun of him at first, to be for real, or like because they needed
once they
someone for their
start to-
poker game.
But once they start to realize that he's like a cool guy, you know what I mean? And like, I like video games. Like, I don't, not at the level of Andy, but I play video games. And like, I don't have toys. I don't understand toys. I've never understood toys.
right because you hate you hate whimsy.
He hates joy.
I hate. Yeah. What are we doing with this imagination bullshit?
Yeah.
But like,
this isn't Aquaman. In fact, an Aquaman is such a ridiculous idea. What's he gonna do?
He's part aqua, part man. What the fuck is this?
Why isn't he playing baseball? Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so I think guys like nerds like to that level are fun. My brother has a bunch of toys. He's not Andy by any stretch. My brother's super cool, but like
I think it's more than just toys, right? Like
I know,
gives
but
off
toys
of
are part of it.
You keep going back to the toys.
Toys are part of it.
That's because toys are Andrew's hanging point in this situation.
I don't get it.
He's hung up on him. I think
I don't understand.
Well, I read in the trivia for the movie there is that line where Seth Rogen's character tells him that he thought he was a serial killer, and they apparently the executives of this movie were like, we don't know that Steve Carell can be a leading man because he gives off this weird energy in this movie, like before this movie. That's also
Little
why
did they know we love that.
Right,
yeah,
like,
we love that energy.
That's why all the Komoseyama and the Kelly Clarksons and shit too, because Steve Carell in particular was worried about how raunchy the movie was, so they were gonna do a version of it like
that softened it.
That had like no profanity in it, so they were doing basically clean TV edits in the movie.
The movie?
Within the real movie, so that you could, in theory, like chop it up for cable. So you cut it.
That's such a worse movie.
Yeah, how
right.
could you even show this movie on cable?
Well,
like
but that's why
they all of Romani Malco out of this movie.
That's why it's Kelly Clarkson instead of so that if they wanted to, they could insert that stuff into the quote unquote clean version of the movie.
I said it was a trailer moment because I remember it in the commercial.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, Kelly Clarkson. And like everybody would like quote that part. And like even then when I was a kid, like I was like, that's like the least funny part of this movie. It's like a hokey one line fucking seemingly a little bit ad-libbed moment in this movie. There's a lot of ad-libs, a lot of things that seemed like ad-libs in this movie, and not a lot of them really landed for me.
One of them is incredibly funny to me, but we will get to it in the jokes portion.
I will say to this day I still quote portions of this movie, so I mean it did have some kind of impact on me. There are like these singular pieces that really stand out, like I don't want to get ahead of what my favorite scene is, but she was a hoe faux show is like one of my favorite quotes. Yeah. And then oh my god, the other one escaped me, so it'll come to me in a minute. But yeah, there are quotable pieces.
Yeah, you're using a lot of big words, and I don't understand them. Someone taking this disrespect is watch your mouth and help me with the sale. So yeah, I think the story of this movie is strong. I don't know that everything that hangs with it is strong, but I think the central story that moves the movie along is very strong. So I give it a 9.
I gave it an 8.5.
Sure.
I gave it
that wasn't
an
one of
8.5.
our rate.
Yeah, it was.
Story. Oh yeah, it is. I see
it.
I see it. I put a number down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gave it an 8.5. I think it's the best story out of any of the comedy movies we've watched so far, because of the Trish storyline, like where you start to realize that, like I said, Andy is the one who's right in all of this, and like all the guys who are trying to teach him how to do things need to actually learn from him.
Yeah,
about just being a genuine person and going with the flow of what you want.
And there's some positive messaging of like there's a hole for every peg, right? You don't have to change yourself to find someone. The right person is out there for you. There's like some positive lessons there.
That should have been the tagline for the 40-year-old
version. There's a hole for
every peg. That would have been. We need a time machine. This movie would have went gangbusters if that's on the poster.
Do you have a story grade,
Rating?
Kai?
No. Well, first of all, that's okay, well, my phone's unlocked. Hold on. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, third on the list. Are we skipping around?
No, we're
Is
going
it
back. Yeah, we're
Anarchy?
skipping around.
Okay. I just didn't know what we were doing.
We've kind of gone organic with the ratings, like what comes up first. I kind of sometimes,
Oh.
anyway.
Okay.
There's been some methodology, but story kind of came up in the conversation.
I put a 7. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, and that's probably the highest score I have for this movie. So I don't disagree with you, but I will say that, like, without Steve Carell being so redeemable, the movie just isn't successful. So it's hard to grade some of these because it's like, if you put it in a vacuum or take Steve Carell out of it, would it be successful? But I guess that's the case with a lot of movies. So what am I even talking about, right?
That's the thing. It's like we talked about this with Dumb and Dumber. It's like it's still a funny movie without Jim Carrey, just because the joke writing is really good in Dumb and Dumber. But it's not nearly the same without Jim Carrey or Jeff Daniels, probably.
Yeah.
You know, I once again, Romani Malco, I ride for him. So, like, I think he's, for me, watching this movie, he's almost as important. He might be more important than Steve Carell in this movie.
I've never heard you talk so, like, highly of anybody in your life since I've known you.
Ask Dusty how long I've been talking about. I'll look up the tweet.
Are you following him?
I tweeted at him one time.
I was gonna say, have you messaged him? Yeah, because you should.
He was also really good in Weeds. He's in like the first 3 seasons of Weeds. He's very funny in that.
But I think he would be stoked that someone even knows who he is. Probably. Is he even acting anymore?
Well, what's funny is
on October 21st, 2020, I tweeted, there might be characters that are as funny as Jay and the 40-Year-Old Virgin, but there 100% for sure is not a funnier character than Jay and the 40-Year-Old Virgin. I might have been exaggerating a little bit there.
It was COVID.
I haven't even seen the movie recently. Random appreciation post at Team Romani.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is he originally begged to be taken out of this movie.
Why?
He was worried that it was going to be a bomb, and he didn't. His mom is a pastor, and so he didn't want her to go see it. And then she ended up apparently going to see it with her friends a bunch of times and really liked it. But it has her son in it, so you know, I think that probably helps. I think normally we move on to jokes. After this, I think, like I said, there's a lot of jokes in this that even at the time didn't land for me, but there are a lot of jokes in this movie that I think are very funny, but they're sort of to me, everything that bounces off of Steve Carell is kind of the thing that gets the biggest laugh for me. Like when he gets very drunk at the end because he's depressed that him and Trish got in a fight, and he goes to the club for Jay's last night. I don't know why they went to the club to celebrate him having a baby, but
because they needed Andy to get drunk.
Yeah, so Andy gets
run into Beth.
Andy gets drunk, and then Jay comes over to him and says, "Hey," and then in the most exaggerated way possible, Steve Carell pulls himself out of this chair and goes, "Hey, motherfucker," which is so funny. Like,
but is that a joke?
That's a joke. It's a lie.
I don't know what qualifies.
I think under our parameters, it's a joke because it's a spoken line between characters. So, like, a gag is something that's visual without.
A gag is that girl's tit falling out. My favorite line from that particular club scene when Andy gets drunk is Seth Rogen goes, how much have you drank? And he goes, how many pots have you smoking? It's a good line.
There are some clever jokes in this movie, but then there are some really not clever jokes in this movie. So it's hard for me to like rank that high when there's so many things that fall flat. And that leads to my question before I tell you a score on this, or before anyone says a score on this. Why this movie? Can somebody tell me? In your top.
I like I'll speak for myself because I was on it as well. Romani Malco is actually a big reason. But
I'm starting to think you're getting paid by Romani Malco.
No, I didn't. He was behind me with a gun. I didn't realize like
Andrew's Team Malfoy. He doesn't even know.
I'm a Slytherin for life. I didn't realize how long it had been since I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And I legitimately had this movie, and I've been on the podcast saying this might be one of the funniest movies ever made. So that was it for me. Dusty still really enjoys this movie.
Do you stand by it?
No.
Oh. Do you stand by it, Dusty?
I think it's still really funny. I think
in the top 4.
I don't know. It's so subjective. Like,
I don't know.
Well,
because we slowly realized how many movies there were.
Well,
when we
and
it's hard. It's a hard list,
and it's trying to do like eras of things. Like, I don't know, joke for joke, Knocked Up might be a funnier movie than this. Like even now. But I was like, okay, Apatow's like a huge thing. His whole crew of guys is in this movie. I remember this movie being very, very funny. It's very successful. It's very highly rated.
Yes.
Even among
people loved
like
this
80,
movie.
89, I think, or something. I looked it up a couple days ago.
And even among rewatches, there's like articles about the 10 or 15 years down the road, people still enjoying seeing this movie. And I think that has to do with like the likability of Steve Carell. And like a lot of the jokes maybe don't age well, or a lot of the situations I will say don't age well, or I don't find as funny as I might have found them before. But there's still a lot of like laugh lines in this movie, but they come to me from unexpected places. Like in the scene where they're doing the chest waxing, it is not the chest waxing that makes me laugh, or some of the like the improv lines. It's at the very end whenever they're gonna wax his nipple, and he puts his hands out and he tells Seth Rogen to hold his hand. He goes, "Hold my hand," and Seth Rogen goes, "What?" And he goes, "Hold my goddamn hand, man." I don't know why I think that kind of stuff is funny, or that particular line is so funny to me.
The in between is a little. it lasts a little longer than those like punchline jokes, right?
Yeah, they played well together in a lot of
even the waxer was like, "Cancel all my future appointments." That's a great line.
And whenever he gets up and is all patchy and he goes, "This is not a good look for me," is very like all of that stuff works for me. A lot of the other setups, like I don't think that the speed dating scene works for me, aside from whenever Seth Rogen and Mindy Kaling are talking and she does I changed my phone number, I changed my email, I moved, what else do you want me to do? Like, that's funny. I don't think any of the other stuff in that scene is really funny, and I think that's like a big set piece sort of thing that's funny in it. But like whenever they're telling Andy that he needs to get all the shit out of his apartment because he looks like a serial killer, whenever Trish is coming to pick him up, and they're talking, and all of a sudden Seth Rogen goes, "Is that the $6 million man's boss?" And Steve Carell goes, "That's Oscar Goldman. He's much more valuable than Steve Austin." He goes, "Well, that may be, but none of this shit is sexy." Like those sort of interactions that don't feel like they're supposed to have this big sort of punchline,
which
or
I
a
think
punchline that you can.
Which I think becomes what Judd Apatow becomes like most comfortable with, is those kind of in between moments, like the more movies he makes,
all the best parts of Knocked Up, as far as the jokes, or a lot of the best parts, are the interactions, like you're saying, between all the roommates, where it just feels like regular guys talking. But that movie's unburdened with such a limited premise like this movie. Like Knocked Up, that premise has a lot more spaces to go, because that's a real situation where you can do a lot of different things.
I guess we'll have to review Knocked Up, guys.
I guess we'll have to go. Maybe in
one day
in a revised draft, I might have picked Knocked Up, but like,
or a consolation draft.
Or even
let's continue this for another 4 months.
Whenever Andrew's nightmare, or even whenever
take a hiatus,
even whenever Andy is like, "I don't want to hang out with you guys anymore. Stop bothering me." And they're like, "Come on, man." And he goes, "And if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to tell whoever their boss is, I can't remember her name, that you're stealing the CDs, the burnable CDs." And as he's leaving, Jay goes, "Hey man, they're just CDs. That's a third strike for me, dog." Is that
hilarious?
All of that stuff works for me still.
It's more natural.
All of that stuff on this watch still holds up as well as it ever did. So I still think there are very funny lines in this movie.
Yeah, totally.
And the whole Kevin Hart scene is very funny. My grandma looks like Jack Palance is very funny. I finally looked up who
Spit out
that.
his water.
I looked up who that is.
Oh, guess what, motherfucker? It's Jack Palance, you sack of shit. How about that?
I finally got a name wrong.
Oh,
I didn't know who he was.
hey, let me talk
Oh,
to you
it's
in the
about to-
sidebar
it's
for a
about to go
second.
down.
God damn it! I misread it. I just fucked myself so hard. I'm like, that is a name.
Oh,
Shit.
USA. USA.
But it's a very funny person for your grandma to look like. My grandma looked like Alice Cooper, which was I've said that my whole life.
Yep.
I miss her very much. I miss you, Patsy. But they just, yeah, there were good, like there were probably 10 or 15 really good jokes in this movie.
Yeah.
But there are 100 jokes in this movie, so like it's tough. So like I gave jokes a 6.
I gave it a 5.
Yeah, I think
five's fair.
I think 6 is probably where I would go, because there are a lot of the interaction sort of jokes that make me laugh, and there are a couple of the big set pieces, like the Jonah Hill "we sell your shit on" or "we sell your stuff on eBay" store scene is so funny.
Very funny.
The
Very
Kevin
funny.
Hart Jay scene, as we talked about, is very funny.
I like the sex ed class where he goes, if you is it true if you don't use it you lose it? Like that, I still quote that.
Is that a real question? No.
that whole scene, I thought that whole scene was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the guy from Reno 911 was funny. The dad, the Jewish dad I thought was funny.
Yeah.
David Koechner was good.
And
like,
the concept of like him using it as a learning opportunity is very funny.
Yeah.
Like that concept plays really well there.
Oh, and I forgot the thing I laugh at the most every time I see this movie. What at the end, after they have the big fight, so they have a sort of fight where Trish and Andy argue about him not wanting to sell his toys. Where he talks, it's a metaphor where he talks about how difficult. Do you know how hard it is to not take these out of the package and play with them? But as soon as you do, then they lose their value, and then no one wants them anymore. And she has no idea why he's talking about these toys so intently. But then she comes to apologize and comes to Andy's apartment and realizes that he's been lying this whole time. And she freaks out because she thinks he's going to kill her. And she runs away. So on his bike, he has to chase her, but she hits the brakes and his car hits her, or his bike hits her car, and he flips through a 2-sided billboard on the side of the road. And lands on the ground, and she comes out to see if he's okay, and he goes, there were 2 sides to that board and they both hurt equally. And then he explains that he's a virgin, and she's like, I don't care, I love you anyway. And they're laying there and they kiss in the road, and then the guy behind him, you forget that he's laying in the middle of the road, and then the guy behind him in the car goes, get the fuck out of the road, virgin. And that's really, really funny. There are 2 sides to this board, and they both hurt equally. The selling of that by Steve Carell is one of my favorite things in this movie.
Yeah, it reminded me of Volkswagen from Happy Gilmore.
From Happy Gilmore, yeah.
It's interesting too, because I'm wondering also, now that I'm thinking about it, like, would this bother me? Like, is it almost like a white whale to the person that it's happening to more than anyone else, right? Like, if someone you're dating finds out that you're a virgin, is that really that big of a red flag to most people, or am I just nice? Because I feel like it's not that huge of a deal.
Like Seth Rogen says, tell it to me. And he goes, I'm a virgin. He goes, cool. That means you don't have chlamydia, and that shit is everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. I think it also speaks, I don't know if that's why it connected with dudes, but like dudes will build up almost anything, and this happens to women too, but I can only speak because I am a dude. You'll build up almost anything as your as your big thing, and I think the way that the guy friends react to the fact that he's a virgin scares him off of this
more than anything else,
more than her, right? Because the movie also they make jokes at his expense early, but they're not mean spirited to him. I don't think, to the fact that he's a virgin. Like I know that's the premise of the movie, but they're not mean to him because of that reason.
Yeah, it's almost like it's almost interesting because it's like you always get in your own way with things, right? Like anybody can kind of relate to that concept where like you have this thing that you're ashamed of, but then the shame can take over your whole brain and then get in your way with even being able to move forward from it, because is it really that big of a deal? I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
And it's and this is that idea taken to the extreme. Like, what's the most bizarre, extreme, funny reason for this? And that's why he's 40 years old and a virgin, because he could equally be the 32-year-old virgin, but it's not as funny,
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah, I guess enough time has passed where it's like then it becomes a problem. Right.
I used to have to tell women I had a wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
That's much worse.
I initially didn't tell women that I liked wrestling so much for a few dates, and then I realized I need to say it at the first date just to knock it out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah. That was.
Yeah, I mean that's how I was.
You gotta show up.
Sorry, go ahead.
Show up in your American Nightmare shirt.
Yeah. No, I believe the official line that I gave my now wife, that's right, wife, is
Boom.
Dusty fucks everybody.
Well, Dusty gets it. That was more Dusty found a woman to marry him in spite of his love of wrestling. That's part one.
Take it.
Yeah, I was like,
you had a Jurassic Park wedding.
They never said it could happen.
Dream.
There's a hole for every peg.
Yeah, keep your love, keep your dreams alive. I was like, look, I really like pro wrestling. Just so you know, like, if you imagine how much you imagine someone might like wrestling, I like it more.
Double
than
that.
Yeah, by quite.
Extrapolate that.
Yeah, extrapolate that. And I was like, you don't have to watch wrestling. I don't expect you to like all the things I like. However, you must be aware that is a thing like that I like. So it's probably going to come up from time to time. So
I mean, I did the same thing when I was single with my daughter. I was like, I have a kid. I'm just putting that out there right now, because that's an issue.
That seems like a way more genuine, hey, this is like a thing that will affect my life. Mine is just, I really like wrestling. You might have to watch wrestling.
Yeah, but some guys don't like kids. Some guys don't like kids. So I'd rather them decide now.
Right.
And that's why Andrew and I didn't work out, because he hates children.
Yeah, I'm really bad with kids. It's not like I immediately become their hero and best friend.
I think it's Dr. Seuss's The Grinch based off of you, right?
Yeah,
he's on the record.
He's on the record many times.
Yeah.
My heart did grow 3 sizes, but it was because of the vaccine.
Hey, there it is. They said comedy was dead. They said you couldn't do it anymore. Yeah.
All right, that's all we had. That's all the time we have. Thank you.
Myocarditis, everybody. See ya.
I wanted.
No, I really did get pleurisy though.
I know. We know. We don't need to go in. This isn't a medical podcast.
1 out of 100 people. The vaccine is still better.
We got it.
It's,
I didn't die suddenly.
No. Also, brief shout out. Jane Lynch kills it in this movie. She's so funny.
Yeah.
Originally, that part was written for a guy, and I think it was Steve Carell's wife plays the sex ed instructor in this movie. The woman.
Okay.
Oh wow.
The blonde woman.
She looks like she would be Steve Carell's wife.
And she recommended Jane Lynch. And then it was Jane Lynch who came up with one of the other the weird slam. One of the other funny things in this movie.
No, she's just like a normal person. Yeah. Like I didn't think Steve Carell's not gonna marry he doesn't seem like the guy to marry like a supermodel. But she's not an uggo. Come on, guys. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying that looks like, if you erase your memory of this, picture Steve Carell's wife. Probably looks a lot like that lady. You know what I mean?
Way to just settle in, Carell. Right in the spot.
You guys all see this is you guys being mean, because that's not what I meant. So you guys have these you guys are judging this lady. I think the judges.
Dusty,
the
would you like to sidebar?
Dude, you can't be calling Steve Carell's wife an uggo on the podcast.
Andrew's becoming an issue. Should we kick him out of the podcast?
Jane Lynch singing the Guatemalan love song to Steve Carell, the look she gets on her face when she starts singing the song.
Jane Lynch is crazy talented.
Yeah,
She's
like,
so funny.
It's like she snaps into this other dimension when she starts singing the song, and forcing Steve Carell to stand there and listen to her sing in Spanish in this lilting voice, and he can't go anywhere. Like, again, I think there are good setups and good punchlines in this movie.
Yeah. So 5. So half the time it was
some of it works.
50% of the time it works 100% of the time, or whatever the stupid fucking quote is.
Yeah. Don't let Andrew catch you on that.
Sick of that joke. Fuck, I hate that joke.
So gags.
Stop saying that joke, everybody.
I'd say there are less successful gags in this movie than jokes.
Yeah.
I don't really like the one gag I can really think of that works that I
the
don't.
nipple one.
Precisely. No. After Steve Carell goes waxing, and he's wearing his like linen shirt, and the blood is seeping through the shirt, and he looks down and he's just utterly defeated.
Mm-hmm.
And then they call it back later when he takes his shirt off whenever he's with Elizabeth Banks, and he's like, and he's drunk, so he forgot that he got his chest waxed, and he's like, oh yeah, that was a fun day.
But is that a joke or a gag?
It's both, because it's the gag again. You see the
jag.
Yeah. You see the chest. You see the chest hair again. Trademarked 2024.
By the way, little trivia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 porn scenes in this movie.
Okay.
You've been looking up the porn that whole time that you were looking at your computer?
I'm looking at the cast, like at the lower part of the cast. And the one when the door is shut, and he's stuck in, that's like a porn star, whatever. The one that he watches, I think it was the Star Wars parody.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stormy Daniels.
Cool.
Famous and she's constantly in the news, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
We can't get rid of her.
And that's Andrew's porn fact for the
day.
day.
Put that out there.
Do you consider it a gag where he switches?
I just found that out for the record.
Do you consider it a gag whenever he switches out the Star Wars parody for Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah, I would say that's a gag.
That's
but
good.
I would God, I was just thinking, I think most of the gags fall flat for me too, but would you consider I always get the artist right. Is it Norm Macdonald? Steve Macdonald? Who's
Michael McDonald?
Michael McDonald.
Don't disparage the name of Norm Macdonald.
Because he does talk about it earlier, but then he like destroys the TV when he's in a low point because it's like still playing on repeat. That's pretty funny. But is that a gag or a joke?
When he leads with, if we don't turn off Michael McDonald, I'm going to kill myself and everybody in the store.
Yeah.
That's a joke, but that's funny. Yeah, the Michael McDonald overall, I would say, is a gag.
Okay. So that's a decent gag.
But
the nipple gag, I'm not for the nipple gag. I'm anti-nipple gag 2024.
It's not, listen, it's not a mountain I'm going to die on. You know what I mean?
Mountain's an interesting word that you chose there.
I know, it was intentional. Because normally you say hill. It's a pretty big hill.
I think there's some dialogue, but I think it's a gag whenever Steve Carell is asking Jay's character if he's attractive. But Jay is watching Dawn of the Dead in the background of the store, and he's reacting to the movie, but every time it's right after Steve Carell's asked him a very earnest question.
What does he say? He says, "You're attractive, but I don't think anyone can see it."
Yeah, I don't think you know it, I think is what it is.
He also says,
"I don't think anyone can see it."
Yeah.
Yeah, he also says
he goes, "What do you think this?"
By the way, look at this lady.
Oh my God.
It's a pretty lady.
Yeah.
So you were complimenting.
Looks like it would be Steve Carell's wife, doesn't it?
Steve Carell's a dashing man.
I don't know what that
though.
means.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
You've never seen somebody be like, that makes sense. That's the type of person that they would date. I think you guys are playing stupid at this point.
Wait, but like, in terms of Steve Carell, she's beautiful. So are you complimenting him?
She looks like a pretty civilian. Is basically what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's not ScarJo. It's not.
Civilian?
You know what I mean? She looks like a pretty civilian.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. I got what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
All right.
There's
I
also
just wanted to defend my honor on that one.
There's also that part where Jay says, because Steve Carell compliments him for being attractive, and he goes, "What do you think? This happened by accident? This is all what does he say? This is all premeditated, partner, or intentional? This is intentional, partner."
So I put 4 for gags, and I think I was being kind.
Yeah, I think 4 for gags is probably fair because
that's actually what I gave
the
it.
ones that hit I think are really good, but there's a lot of them.
A lot.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that you're forgetting because you blocked them out too, because they're like, oh god.
Well, and I watched it a few weeks ago, and I have my notes, but I didn't want to go plot point by plot point.
No,
this movie
please do.
also does.
Yeah. Hold on. So movie opens. Hold on.
Shut the fuck up, dude. I ain't letting you do this. Well, it's been an hour and a half. Hold on.
Black screen.
Yeah.
They also do
open on Universal logo.
Not a gag. Next one. This movie also like does the unnecessary gag.
Yeah.
Where like I can't remember when it was. It was during the Trish part. Oh, it was when he's like happy about Trish. Like he's happy things are going on. He's like, it's the kind of montage where his life's coming together. And he just hits a pothole on his bike and falls over the front.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's like it's like they had that and they were like, oh man, the stunt guy like fucking broke his wrist, so we have to use it. You know what I mean? Like,
I wonder if it's like they were, they were probably a little nervous because Steve Carell's not a movie star. This is Apatow's first movie.
We gotta put some gags.
Well, and they're like, it might have been, we had the earnestness. It might have been 2 or 3 minutes since we've had a joke. Let's put this joke. The people falling down normally always going to get a laugh,
Yeah. Yeah, or like the bookstore lady with her thong hanging out. Like I didn't think we needed the thong hanging out. You know what I mean? Like
but it proves it's a character moment for Cal too, because that's the type of woman that he would go for, and so that's what he's trying to tell Steve Carell. I agree. I don't think you need it, but like they're gonna put that stuff in a movie called The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Well, and that line was quoted a lot. Something's wrong with her underwear. Yeah, they're not in my mouth. Like, I know it's not a good line. I don't like that line. Loved it when I was 15. Thought it was very funny. My friends and I.
Did you try and deliver that to a girl when you were 15?
Yeah, how did it work? My mouth. How did it work? You know what else I hated about this movie is it making certain like women in general seem stupid.
Yeah.
Like Beth just falls in love with him because he just asks a bunch of mysterious questions the whole time.
Yeah, I used to like that scene, and it bugged me this time. I was like, what?
Wildly inappropriate to do to somebody.
Yeah, and also it seemed out of character for Andy's character. Like, I don't think he would be able to pull something like that off. Like, he all of a sudden gets this like boost of confidence. That scene kind of bugged me actually, because I was like, it doesn't really fall in line with him. Like, he's not Rico Suave all of a sudden, Yeah.
And I love Elizabeth Banks.
I do too. I think she's so pretty.
She's very funny.
Yeah, she's very funny, and she played that character properly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the character they wanted. She was very effective as that character. But I didn't particularly love the character.
Yeah.
A line I forgot about. Now I did go through my notes. There's a part where Andy is talking to the guys again, and I think he's it's after one of the scenes in the movie that does not age particularly well, where they try to hire a prostitute for Andy, and it turns out to be a transvestite.
That was the what of transvestites? What is
Andre?
That was the Mona Lisa.
Yeah. And then, but it's Andy. See, another redeemable part for Andy is they're all starting to say stuff, and he goes, and she was very nice, by the way. Like they cut away from that scene, but then you imagine a scene where he just has an entire conversation with her.
Like he would have like had a heart-to-heart with her, right, and like gotten to know about her family or something.
But while he's telling them about that, the Bourne Identity is in the background, and Paul Rudd goes, I always thought Matt Damon was kind of a Streisand, but he's rocking the shit out of this movie. And Matt and Steve Carell turns to him and goes, "Shut up, Dave!" Like. I think again that's that stuff works for me. The other really like the raunchy stuff doesn't age well.
Yeah, because there's another joke at the beginning where he was like, "Are you gay?" And he's like, "No, I'm not gay." And he's like, I'm fine. Like, if people have sexual time with other men in prison, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Like,
That's
like, it's
yeah.
not even that good of a
Very
joke.
2005.
Well, and I think
2005 is
in
shit.
all comedies, really, like that's the stuff that ages particularly poorly, and then you kind of have to judge, like,
Yeah,
okay, does the rest of this stuff work? Because, like, again, not to bash Wedding Crashers, but there's a bunch of stuff in Wedding Crashers that's
for
like
sure.
really
So what do
bad.
you think makes, like, because you said, and I hadn't seen it in a long time, you guys said that whole Monty Python had that, like, their jokes had longevity. What do you think makes like a joke have longevity?
There's
Welcome to my
jokes that are
podcast.
Yeah.
there's
And here's Andrew's TED Talk. Here we go.
there's humor that's timeless and there's humor that's not timeless. There was if you're working within something, there are certain things that Monty Python do that we just literally wouldn't even understand as a joke right now because it was to the period of the time. But that's mostly in like Monty Python's Flying Circus, their sketch show.
Hmm.
I don't know if they did it on purpose, but with the Holy Grail, they wrote something that was just based in the art of humor rather than in the time that it was made. So like this is very 2005. This movie is like very. This is specifically what we thought was funny at the time. Raunchy was huge. We were making all these sex jokes and stuff. And with Monty Python, they don't play with a lot of stuff that has any chance of falling out of favor.
But how do you
Um,
know what has chance of falling out of favor, I guess? Or do you, when you're writing jokes, do you have the intention that this is going to be a joke with longevity? Like, is that the intention behind it, or does it just happen to be that way sometimes?
I think only time tells, and I think the best guys play within. They end up playing within something that can stand the test of time because they're not riding a wave of trend.
Mm.
They're and I'm not shitting on like this movie for that.
No,
To
you
be
are.
honest,
No,
like
you are. No, I'm just
because
kidding.
no, because like Monty Python was made by five geniuses
Hmm.
for like $200,000. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it was five guys that are highly like ultra intelligent, went to Oxford and like all this stuff. And it's like the beginning of The Simpsons. The beginning of The Simpsons is made by guys who went to Harvard. They understand the art and the math of comedy,
Mm.
and they put people in situations that are ridiculous. And ridiculous, I don't think will ever fall out of favor, um,
But
as much
scandalous
as
will.
yeah. And like even in Monty Python's The Life of Brian, they have a whole conversation about one of the guys wants to be a woman, and like people would watch it now and it wouldn't be seen the same as hiring a transvestite hooker and that being the joke of it.
Mm.
Like the way the joke is in the people reacting to it and the conversation that they have, because they're sitting in like the stands at the Coliseum with people dying in front of them, and the guy's like I just want to be a woman, and they're like what like where's this coming from, you know? It's playing within something and having the fundamentals of comedy around that, where the conversation is the joke rather than the actual concept.
Mm.
With this, the concept of the hooker having a penis was the whole thing that the joke wrote on.
Right.
And
Could
there
you
wasn't a lot of
imagine? Like,
And the
yeah,
shock
there wasn't a lot of
value, I guess, right?
yeah, there wasn't a lot of density within that in terms of humor.
That's
well,
interesting.
and so I think the success of the movie is, again, if you watch it now, the interplay between the characters, the relationships between those characters, the sort of friendship aspect of it, again, to hit the same point, is what survives and what can last to make it still good. And some of those jokes, but like it is, like Andrew said, is very of its moment, as far as a lot of the things that it uses as comedic devices, but or in the same way that like Mitch Hedberg jokes are still funny. Mitch Hedberg
Hmm.
died, and what was
What?
it?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, unfortunate,
He died in
2001.
like yeah, something like that. I
This
think it
But
was.
you
news to
can
me.
you can just I'm so sorry, I hate to tell you. Uh
Spoiler alert.
2005.
oh,
Spoiler
2005.
alert.
Wow. But like, you can read those off the page and they're still funny because the concepts in them are sort of evergreen.
Evergreen.
Yeah, like
Silliness is a universal language.
Hmm.
silliness, absurdness. A lot of comedians talked about how Gallagher, in spite of him being known for smashing watermelons, was a guy who did a lot of political humor. But like, you can't go listen to old Gallagher shit because it wouldn't be funny now. Because it's like, what Oliver North joke is still funny now? Nobody
Right.
He
knows.
was also a maniac.
Also a maniac, yes. But
Yeah.
like,
Gallagher was a maniac.
like the 40-year-old version is a reaction to a certain kind of comedy, or filling a void that was lacking as a certain kind of comedy as the culture sort of changed, like Andrew said before, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that we're not in that culture, that moment anymore, and so
And that's probably why we appreciate those little in-between moments more now,
Yeah.
because it's more applicable, or
Right.
applies longer than those
Yeah.
those punchline jokes at the time.
Yeah, because you can make stuff that's dated that, like, I hold a lot of respect for Scary Movie, but I bet if I watched it tomorrow, it wouldn't hit like it did back then, and that's fine. Like, it's okay to make stuff that's dated.
Right.
There's just like certain things that are gonna stand I mean, this movie, the 40-year-old virgin has I think it's like 85 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So like, people still love this movie. It's just, it probably has a higher one than Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but it's just, there are certain things that will last longer and have a longer shelf life. Actually, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, 96 critics score, 95 audience score.
Bro.
Holy shit!
You forgot about nerds.
And I genuinely like Monty Python and the Holy Grail gets funnier every time I watch it.
I haven't
This
seen
movie,
it in forever. I would love to rewatch that. I wish I would have been asked to, but I didn't. I got to watch a movie I didn't like, but it's fine. I don't really want to talk about it that much.
The only person we didn't let choose was the broad.
Yep. Patriarchy strikes again. And I feel like every time I'm asked to be on this DM podcast, it's me having one opinion and you two having the opposite.
Well, we all like Jurassic Park.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess I'm thinking about The Strangers.
Oh, that movie
I'm always
sucks.
on the wrong side of the coin.
Well,
that's your fault.
You're not going to watch The Strangers Chapter 1. You have to. You have to.
Certainly not. I heard your recap of it. I got it.
Oh, it's terrible. One of the worst movies I've seen.
Your recap was great.
Oh, man.
It was fun.
Goddamn Nearby Shed. Stupid ass.
I hate it when the town's in on it, Dusty.
Stupid ass Nearby Shed. So
most of the time, if Dusty doesn't like something, then I won't like it. But there are a few times we disagree, Dusty, and that's okay. And that makes us human. And that's what makes us us. Yeah.
That's right. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a podcast if it was hey, everybody is on the same page.
There's a pig for every hole.
The same page.
Yeah, we go to the most agreeable podcast in the land. So then we go to MVP, right?
No, rewatchability.
Rewatchability.
Yeah, but I usually do rewatchability kind of last. So let's do performances.
I give a high bar to the performances in this movie. There's a lot of people that are given a lot of stuff, but I can distinctly remember, like, Jonah Hill kills his one scene. Mm-hmm. You know, Leslie Mann kills her like 2 or 3 scenes that she's in. Steve Carell is the linchpin of this movie. I don't think
linchpin, great word.
Thank you. I don't think that the other dudes, aside from Jay, like you said, I think Seth Rogen's pretty one note. Paul Rudd's pretty one note. Catherine Keener as Trish is great. I think even Kat Dennings as her older daughter does the job that she's supposed to do. We didn't even talk about her.
I wanted to kill her.
I thought they did not think that's what you were going to say.
No, I don't. If I was going to say that other thing, don't know she was old enough for me to say that. I bet she was.
Jesus, Andrew.
No, God, I wanted to kill her.
And Jane Lynch kills it. Some of the performances don't age particularly well. We haven't talked about the
Middle
Eastern guys, one of which went to prison for attempted murder, trying to stab his wife to death, or his girlfriend.
Cool.
Oh, fuck. Can I guess which one? Do you know which one it is? The young guy. Yeah. Not the bald guy. Even though that guy had a couple of funny lines. I knew there was something up with that guy.
Why are you always trying to tell me to fucking go? Very funny.
Yeah, Romani Malco saying why you always tell me to fuck a goat, man, is funny. But him saying fuck a goat, not funny.
So I'm gonna go an 8. I think of the performances that mattered, they were all pretty good.
I went with a 7. Mostly because, and this isn't even particularly their fault, but mostly because of the Rudd Rogan situation. I think this is probably. I think Rogan.
I thought they solved that, the Rudd Rogan situation. I thought there were peace talks. Yeah, there was a peace summit called
Rudd v. Rogan. Yeah. God damn it! I said Wogan.
He said
hey,
Rogan.
Andrew, his name's Seth Rogen. You dumb asshole.
At least I knew what his name was. Fucking who? What am I supposed to know? Palance, whatever his name is.
Jack Palance.
Palance.
Hell yeah, you
fuck
are.
him.
He looks like Seth Rogen's
situation.
Yeah.
I think Seth Rogen was fine. You know what I mean? Like, this wasn't a Seth Rogen thing. He had his moments where he was really good, I think, but overall it was like they didn't write too dynamic of a guy for him. Steve Carell and Romani both get 10s. Trish way up there. Gina was great.
That lady's from Mad TV. Mo Collins is her name.
Mo Collins, yeah.
She's very funny on Mad TV.
Hopping back on that pogo stick.
That's
so
it wasn't. That's very dated.
Yeah.
But for the period, it was like everybody loved the Gina moment.
She's got soft,
the Gina monologue.
Stop. Cut the tape. Cut the tape. I'm out.
God damn it! I wish I had the fucking soundboard ready when I said that.
I'll send you a gif of someone hitting a home run just now.
So yeah, 7. Kai, what do you give the performance?
I'm gonna give it a 6. Mostly for what Andrew said. I mean, Steve Carell did great, but I feel like everyone else in this movie, they did fine. I don't think that this was any of their best performances by a long shot, except for whatever the guy that you're obsessed with, sure, but
Jay.
Yeah, but most
Watch
of
your
them,
mouth.
like Paul Rudd, even like you said with Jane Lynch and stuff like that, I've seen her do better in other things, so I would say it was fine.
This was kind of her coming out party, right? Like, this is when people started really. Yeah.
She's in all the.
I mean, very clearly, she's a lesbian.
I would say.
What are you doing? She's less straight than Gina. So.
She's in Best in Show. She's very funny in Best in Show.
She's in Glee.
Yeah, she's one of the Christopher.
Sue Sylvester.
She's in she's like one of Christopher Guest's main people for some of the later movies. She's in A Mighty Wind, like. So not a coming out party, like a mainstream coming out party maybe, but like she's so goddamn funny in Best.
That's what I mean.
She's so goddamn funny in Best in Show. Like,
I haven't seen that. I just know that was when like she started showing up at like the Emmys and like a bunch of random stuff after this movie.
Yeah, well, she was in Glee too, and she got nominated for a bunch of Emmys from that show. She was hilarious.
Yeah.
She was Sue Sylvester, which was the cheerleader coach, but she was like kind of like a tyrant cheerleader coach in that show. And
could you imagine Jane Lynch mean? Does that seem like something she could play? She's very funny in Role Models also. She's the whatever the head of the group they have to go work for after they get kicked out. So
yeah.
So now we're on rewatch, or we on MVP or rewatchability?
We'll go to MVP on this one.
Andrew, go ahead.
Andrew, who did you like anyone in this movie?
Give it to you.
You know what? I don't even have to say
Number one with a bullet. Yeah.
Because I'm insecure.
Can't you tell, man?
This my baby. That's my baby's dick right there. Yeah, I think he knocked this movie out of the park. He's tickled me pink for a long time. And
hammer dance at the end. Come on, man. He nailed it.
Yeah, dude. Like he committed to his character more so than any of the other supporting actors in this movie, and they gave him more to do, I think, but he just really shined. So he's my MVP.
Aw, that was kind of cute. It was like sweet.
The shining star.
I love the guy.
Yeah. Has he been in a lot since then?
No.
He's been in quite.
No.
He's been in some stuff.
Andrew's dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Watch your fucking
I
mouth,
guarantee.
dude. He's in Weeds.
I dare you to name a thing that he's been in.
He was in The X. He was in Blades of Glory. He was in Baby Mama. He was in The Love Guru. He was in St. John of Las Vegas. He was in Gulliver's Travels. He was in A Little Bit of Heaven. He was in Think Like a Man. He was in Las Vegas. He was in Think Like a Man 2. He was in Top
Not
5. He
Think
was in
Like
The
a
Duff.
Man
He was in
2.
When the Bow Breaks. He was in Almost Christmas. He was in Tijuana Jackson, Purpose Over Prison.
Tijuana
You guys have seen
Jackson.
that, right? He was in Night School. He was in Holiday Rush.
Oh,
Jackson.
he is funny in Night School. I remember seeing him in that. Yeah.
Of course he
Of
is.
course,
He's Romani
yeah.
Malco.
I don't think that this he never blew up the way that he deserves, because I think he's
Like anyone else did in this movie.
Right, he's very funny.
Yeah. He's like a Martin Lawrence type guy,
Right.
and I'm not only saying that because he's black.
He never got
okay?
he never got his own movie. Like, I would think that you'd maybe try to put him in something, unless Tijuana Jackson's about him.
Well,
but
Andrew would have.
or maybe he just like
he likes being
this
this
is
guy.
his pocket. Like this was like what works perfectly for him, and maybe he shouldn't be the leading man in something.
When does the fan
like
club meet? Like every month or every other month?
I get
At
it.
the
I
Applebee's,
understand.
you
This
guys-
is the thing that you guys want to jump on. Okay.
Because that's where the speed
You
that's where the
guys, man.
speed dating was. You see.
I
From the
ride for
movie.
my hitters, okay, and he's one of my hitters.
Yeah.
It's cute.
So,
It's adorable. We love it.
I gotta look. I've talked about him the whole podcast. He's the only reason this movie works. I gotta go Steve Carell. He's hilarious in this movie. It's perfect casting for him. It led to them rewriting the Michael Scott character for The Office.
Really?
Because the first season of The Office, he's so mean. Like, he's mean in a way that is not redeeming at all. And they saw him in this, and they were like, oh, that's kind of what he can be. Like, in the later,
I can see a lot of Michael Scott in this.
the later
Yeah.
Michael Scott is like he's
Little
More,
autistic.
he's more dumb, but well-meaning than he is mean. Like,
Yeah.
it's in the first season. Remember, he's got the hair slicked back, and it's all black, and he's like
I
he's
can't
just
remember the first season.
the first season's not great. There's some good things being set up, but he's just kind of he can't be redeemed. And then they were like, okay, it's better if he's this kind of guy, where you sort of empathize with him. So like, I have to give it to Carell, because the movie, everything else in every other performance in this movie that might be wonderful, I think Catherine Keener's probably my second person. Like, the movie doesn't work if Steve Carell is not the leading guy. It doesn't work with any other guy that's in this movie.
No. Certainly not. And who do you think could even replaced him in that? Was anyone up for it, or was it just built around Steve Carell?
No, because it's his sketch. So I think they were. And after Anchorman, I think it says Apatow was like, we got to do something with this guy because he's so funny. And like,
I wonder who else could have done it.
Brick sort of low key steals
Yeah.
the first Anchorman movie. I can see, like, I don't know, Ben Stiller is like a little too mean spirited. All the best Ben Stiller characters are like kind of mean.
Yeah.
And oblivious. White Goodman, dude from Heavyweights.
Will Ferrell?
Maybe. I think it gets too slapsticky if it's Ferrell.
Yeah.
It would have been a different movie, but I think Ferrell can make almost any script work.
He could kind of do it. It's like, I could see a Jason Sudeikis kind of dude maybe doing this.
Yeah, but would Jason Sudeikis be a 40-year-old virgin? Because they have to have kind of a look to him too, right?
Well,
like
and
what are you saying? What are you saying?
Like they marry a normie. You know what I mean?
And part of the movie, it also works. The poster for this movie we have to talk about for a second. The poster is it's so fucking funny. It's just, there's one where it's just Steve Carell and he's kind of looking wistfully into the distance, like he's kind of in mid-run, and it just says the 40-year-old virgin under it. It like helped set a template for movie posters.
For the record, Sudeikis wasn't hot in
No,
2005.
I agree, but
my god.
Like, that's so funny. I remember
it's like
seeing
the 90s J.C. Penney's pictures.
Yeah, I remember seeing that photo and seeing the poster in the movie theater and just being like, yeah, okay, that I can wrap my head around what that is, and I think that'll be funny.
And they did themselves a service by naming it the 40-year-old virgin, right? Like, it's very like, got it.
It's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, you know exactly what it is.
Look at the look at the third suggested thing on Google. The 40-year-old virgin Stormy Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew's just always trying to bring it back to the porn talk.
I just thought it was funny.
So who would
okay?
be your MVP, Kai?
I'm gonna start bullying you guys. How about
Yeah.
that?
You do every day in my life.
I'm gonna continue.
Yeah, what do you
bullying
mean?
guys.
Now you're just getting a little taste. Somebody's a little upset about it. Tables have turned.
I hate it when the tables turn.
Almost as much as when the town is in on it.
Yeah. God damn it. The worst is when the tables turn and it turns out that the town is in on it.
Oh my gosh. I would have to say Steve Carell. I can't see this, like I said, I can't see this movie working with literally anybody else, and he is the redeeming, I would dare say, the only redeeming quality of this film. So it's got to be Steve, and you got to love him. But I mean, he does have a kind of underlying thread between, Brick, Andy, and
Michael
The
Scott.
Office. Michael Scott, thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm trying to think of somebody who, because they have to be sneaky attractive for this movie to work.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a 40-year-old virgin and he's it's a problem.
But not too attractive, because
I mean?
like Paul Rudd couldn't have been, even at this point, because Paul Rudd doesn't have the cachet necessarily, but
Gorgeous.
right.
What-
that's what I'm
what
saying. He
about-
couldn't have been in this movie
Mm-mm.
even then, because it's not as
And-
believable,
Kai's gonna get mad at me, but what about Jason Segel?
He's too young.
They wanted to put Jason Segel in this movie, but the studio
I
said
don't
no.
think he's too young.
because,
At the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really young and knocked up. He was like 20
Yeah.
something and knocked up.
The studio was like, because he's an Apatow guy too from way back.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Love of my life.
they were like, no, he can't be in this movie.
Why?
They just like, they were so hesitant because there's no stars in this movie. They were like, we're not letting you put just another dude that in our movie. We're already letting you. This is Seth Green's first movie
Yeah.
credit.
He's like,
Yeah.
you
Or
can't
not
just throw
Seth
everyone
Green.
in this film.
Maybe Seth Green. Seth Rogen.
Oh,
This is Seth
Seth
Rogen's
Green.
first
Seth
movie.
Green. This movie was Seth Green.
Or
I
like a
found
Dax
out the
Shepard.
other day-
I could maybe see a Dax Shepard being, but
No,
like
Billy
he's
Crystal?
not a good enough.
He's got cool disposition.
He's not a good enough actor.
What-
Steve Carell is a really good actor.
Steve
So, like-
Buscemi.
What do-
Steve Buscemi.
No, too creepy. The Buscemi's too
Too
creepy. Yeah.
They should just
Willem
went full
Dafoe.
DeVito.
Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe.
Like I think
Yeah.
Sandler's too slapstick. Like I think a movie, most movies with Adam Sandler work. Kevin James, could you make Kevin
No.
James the 40-year-old virgin?
No, they have to have like a teddy bear like sweetness to them that a lot of them don't have. Like you
Plus
just
you
want to
had,
give Steve Carell a hug.
plus you hadn't seen
I don't
Steve
think-
Carell. Like Kevin James had been fake married to Leah Remini for like years
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
on their sitcom.
In
Yeah.
an alternate universe, though, I think you could have made Kevin James work.
Yeah.
I mean, Hitch. They made the
Right.
movie.
He's Paul Blart Mall Cop.
I
Oh yeah,
love
Hitch is very funny.
Yeah. So,
Hitch,
so
the
like
same
they-
year as this movie. Yeah.
Really?
They basically did it.
Yeah.
Wow, it doesn't
two-
seem like it's the same time, but I guess
2005's a hitter. I got a rundown in a second because this is.
I'm gonna think about it. But who
By the way, what the fuck is Kevin James doing? What is he fucking doing with that beard?
did he? Is that
Is he trying to be Joe Budden?
I was gonna say, is that Joe Rogan?
Yeah, he's like, this is definitely alt-right Kevin James. This guy has a lot to say about. He wants you to take his
Yeah.
nootropics and take ice
Yeah.
baths.
He's just
But,
asking questions at this point.
I've heard, by the way, from a lot of people in comedy, Kevin James, legitimately very, very funny dude and like the nicest.
Very
guy in
nice
the world.
guy.
For the record,
He
I want it on record.
also was on the wrestling team with Mick Foley, the wrestler. Back to wrestling. I like
Yeah.
wrestling. So,
What?
yeah, big reveal on this episode.
Do you have do you have an autographed picture of Tugboat?
I do not. I do not. Where's it at? Where's Tugboat?
Above his
It's on
bed.
top of it's on top of my coffee table book right now.
Okay.
I talked to my girlfriend. I said she'd kill me. She's like, you can put it in the garage.
Aw.
Bitch, I don't have a garage.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you- I'm gonna get-
She's right.
I'm gonna get you a matching.
Yeah, she
I'm gonna get you a matching
she-
typhoon one next year.
Yeah, she's
every
I'm just gonna get one
every Fred
year.
Ottman character, Shockmaster.
And every time you come over, you're gonna be like, "Where's the?"
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be like, "All right, put them up."
She's gonna rebrand the garage as a man cave to make you
Yeah.
feel good about it. She's like, it's going in the man cave.
No,
Yeah, but
it'll be.
you know me, I would not allow. I'm not gonna have a man cave. We're not gonna call it that. That's
We
my
call it the
room.
tug.
That's
We
Andrew's.
call it the
Andrew's
tugboat.
room. The tugboat.
It's the tugboat.
And it's nautical themed.
Yeah. You have to wear one of those.
It's not a man cave. It's the poop
Yeah,
deck.
you have to
Okay.
you have to wear one of those in and out sailor hats when you go in there.
Call
I
Andrew
just
the
spray
captain.
painted it white.
Okay, so then we do rewatchability, right?
Yeah. No, let's do favorite moment.
Oh,
Favorite moment. My favorite moment is the Kevin Hart scene.
yeah.
Full stop.
Full
I think it's the best
stop.
part of the movie.
Mic drop.
Fuck all your guys.
Okay.
You're gonna get clapped up.
the
Come back,
extended
you'll
one-
get clapped up.
Yeah, the extended one is funnier. I can't say the line because he says the
A
N-word.
lot of the funnier
No, say
parts
it.
of that scene we can't say, but it's
Go for it.
he's talking about coming back.
Yeah, if you
He's
wanna
got-
say
he's
it,
got
do
two
it.
fake guns
Yeah.
in his hands. He's like hitting his hands together, and he's like, "Both y'all."
yeah, gonna
And then
get
he
clapped.
says the
You're gonna get
word.
clapped up. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
But yeah, that's my favorite part of the movie. Dusty, actually, wait,
Yeah.
Kai,
Me?
what do you think?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I have two favorite parts, which is shocking because I don't even like this movie. But
Mhm.
Andy riding home on the bike after he admitted that he wasn't a virgin and like talking to himself.
bag.
Bag of sand.
Come on, man. That whole thing, and then where he's
Yeah.
where he's just
Where he's
in
at
his
home.
where he's in his
Yeah.
apartment screaming. To
Yeah, and he's like,
nothing.
it's not gonna be that bad.
Yeah, those guys are cool. It's not gonna be that bad.
And then he walks in, and everybody knows that he's a virgin.
Because I feel like
Um,
that's really relatable when you like say something. It's not as relatable, but when you say something stupid and then you're just thinking about it for the rest of the night.
Oh, I think about it for years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be thinking
I'm-
about that fucking asshole's name for like a year.
I think about L's I've taken every night. every.
You ever audibly grunt because you thought about something
Yeah.
that you did in the past? You're just like you're by yourself and you just go.
Or you like flinch. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
What an L! Put it up on the board.
I-
But
Watching that this time made me think like before I ever actually touched a boob, what did I think they felt like? Because when I watched this, I hadn't yet touched a
Sure.
boob. I was 15, and I don't believe I had done it yet. So it's like I just crossed bag of sand off the list. I'm like, okay, so it's definitely not bag of
Yeah.
sand. According to
You
this
watch
movie.
it and you're like, oh.
you've got stuff
Totally.
you're working.
Okay.
You got stuff you're working on, a list that you're running.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
A
again.
bag of rice is next.
Again, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that funny. Again, it's not that funny to me when they're at the poker table,
Right.
and he says it. But you're right, when he's on his way home and he goes, "Come on, man, a bag of sand," and when he goes, "Me so horny, me so stupid,"
Me so
like that-
stupid.
yeah.
Me so honey, me so stupid is good.
Uh,
Because that's a good point too. Sorry, we'll get back to your second one, Kai. But at the poker game, the thing that bothered me was that Andy is inexperienced, but he's not like stupid.
Right.
Right.
And like you have to be stupid to think that's how you're going to play that
Yeah.
off.
Right.
You know.
But he
There-
also
you
he
could-
also
there's a
doesn't
lot
have
of things
like you
could
said,
do
he
on.
doesn't have experience with other people. So
Yeah,
he doesn't
like,
have improv
Shooting the
skills.
shit.
Yeah. He's like he tries to deflect 2 or 3 times.
That
He's
is
like,
true.
"Gentleman doesn't kiss and tell," I don't blah blah blah, and then they won't let it go, and then he like has to, and he doesn't. It feels like an improv exercise 1 where you've never done, and you're like, I don't.
Yeah.
He's like putting his foot in the water, trying to find
Yeah.
the footing.
Poor Andy.
Yeah.
So I love that scene specifically, probably because of the real relatability of it. We've all been there. We've all said something stupid
Yeah.
that we just think about for the rest of the night. And then, Andrew, you'd be happy to know that my other favorite scene is with Jay.
Hell yeah.
And Andy.
Of course it is.
And Andy. But when he's covering for Jay is one of my favorite scenes too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who the fuck are
She
you
was a
to
hoe
put me
for-
on
for
to
sure.
put me on trial? I don't even know you.
You
Yeah, when
said-
he's like,
yeah.
what is he says something like "You're not my bitch"
Yeah.
or something like that.
So fuck it, man. And then she goes, "That's how you talk to people." And Jay, she turns to Jay and goes, "You hang out with this dude?" And he's like, "Baby, I don't hang out with him. I tried to introduce him to some nice people. He acted a fool. I don't mess with him."
Yeah, and there's a point when he gets too committed to the bit, and Jay has to step in. Listen, I can't let you talk to a girl like that.
I think he says "bitch is running wild," and he goes, "Oh,
Yeah,
you can't be saying that." Oh man, my favorite is both sign. That sign had two sides, and they both hurt equally. Into "Get the fuck out of the road, virgin." That every time that makes me laugh.
Yep.
And maybe it's just me, but I forget they're in the road.
It was at the end.
Right. Like maybe I'm the only one who forgets they're in the road, but there's like the double joke there of, yes, that's really funny, and then they have the very sweet moment, and then the button to it is "Get the fuck out of the road."
Well, that billboard line is very much a Dusty line.
Yeah.
Like that is your sense of humor
that I find funny.
Yeah, that's the very style of thing that you find, like, because like it didn't hit me that hard. It's not a bad line, but it didn't hit me that hard. You know what I mean? But
to each their own.
There's a cute
scene and Dusty loves a cute scene.
I'm ready to put Romani in the Hall of Fame. So like I'm
weird. So, what do you mean ready to put him in? You got a tweet from 2020.
He's been in it for a long time.
The jersey's been printed.
I think we have put
he's
him
like
in the Hall of
Sting
Fame multiple times.
In 1997 WCW. He's in the rafters.
He doesn't leave the rafters.
He comes down from the rafters
back in
to
the day,
do Tijuana Jones or whatever that movie was.
Remember the bit that I used to always do, Lifetime Pass?
Yeah.
I've given him so many lifetime. He gets a lifetime pass. Like no matter unless he does something criminal.
Right.
For the record.
A bad person.
So have you seen all of his films, or?
I don't have to see all his films,
okay.
Kai.
I was just wondering.
I just have to see the 2 hours of magic that he provided us.
Just thought you were a fan.
Little bit of weeds.
Thought you were a fan. Sorry about that.
I have Tijuana Jones on Laserdisc. Okay.
I think it's Tequila Jones. Was it Tijuana?
Tequila Jones. Yeah.
I hope it's Tijuana Jones. It's better. It's Tijuana Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
I was way
part
off.
of my bit, Samsonite.
Tijuana Jones.
So rewatchability, it hurts. It hurts my heart as the guy who wrote for this movie. This is probably a 3 on rewatchability. I don't know that I'll ever watch this movie again, but I've seen it a ton, and I will continue to quote various parts of this movie probably till I die, but I don't know that I'm going to throw it in again. Like it's not a comedy that I would put on in the background. I have those. This isn't one of those, and I don't know when I'll sit down and like watch it again on purpose.
Yeah. Kai, how about you?
2 would be a 2 for me. 2.
Hell yeah.
2,
not a 1.
2 only because if I get asked on another podcast in the future and have to watch it again,
you have to couch that particular thing.
Yeah. You never know.
If you get asked on the Judd Apatow rewatch podcast, you might have to.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm not gonna say no to Judd. You know what I mean?
No,
you don't say no to Judd. You don't say no to Judd.
No, you get one shot with Judd.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So 2.
I gave it a 4.
Okay.
I think, but I'm rethinking that because I am the least likely to rewatch any movie.
You're the least likely to watch any movie, let alone to rewatch.
Watch it the first time.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Joker.
Right.
But in terms of comedies, the reason that because I was gonna give it like an even lower score, but because the story score is so good, for me, I think it is. When it comes to comedies, it's not like the least rewatchable. So I give it a 4. I think that the performances are good enough, the story's good enough that I don't know that I'll ever watch it again, but I won't be like, fuck no, I don't want to watch that movie. And I think that's
it's not Beautician.
If you ask me tomorrow, I will not.
It's not
watch
Beautician and the Beast.
I will not.
No,
it's not the stand-in.
Sure.
That's a 0.
That's the thing, guys. I watched a lot of really bad movies for refund theater, and Kai watched a good amount of them as well.
Win a Day with Ted Hamilton. I
haven't seen that.
That's not bad. That's not that bad.
It's
I bet it sucks ass,
It's-
Dusty. Let's
yeah.
get her. Let's get her.
I'm not
all
gonna
right.
die on it.
So,
Question. Wait.
oh,
Do you guys? Okay, so I found out this isn't a thing that everybody does, so I want to know before we move on. Do you guys have like a comfort show or movie that you watch when you like either are having a bad day or are like don't feel like looking for anything? Is there something that you just throw on? Like speaking of rewatchability,
Dusty turns on wrestling.
I watch wrestling,
like
or
old wrestling.
yeah. Well, I like wrestling, but I'll probably watch 90s wrestling, like 90s WCW. I'll just watch it. I don't know why. But if we're talking about a movie, The Big Lebowski or Jurassic Park, probably. I've seen Jurassic Park a million times. But
I've seen, for sure.
I love The Big Lebowski. I wanted to put it on this list, but I just didn't think it was something that enough people wanted, but I think that's one of the funniest goddamn movies in the world. And every time I watch it, there's a new thing that I enjoy about watching it.
Yeah.
Before this, I probably would have put 40-Year-Old Virgin over The Big Lebowski, but after watching it, I think The Big Lebowski is a funnier
Philip
movie.
Seymour Hoffman in The Big Lebowski, underrated MVP of that movie. Like, he's so good in the 4 scenes he's in or whatever. That's who I watch now when I watch it, is like his scenes are so funny because of him. Even whenever he's not the main character. But yeah, I've watched The Big Lebowski dozens of times.
So you have it. You put it on when you're like just not looking for something to watch.
Yeah, or like whenever I was single and I was like, I'm gonna clean my house, I would just put The Big Lebowski on because I'm like, I've seen it. I know where the stuff is that I really like. I can do stuff while I have it on in the background, and it's so well written that it's not. I don't want to say it's music, quote unquote, but like it's nice to listen to because the dialogue is so good in it.
What about you, Andrew?
I've got stuff like that, but none of it's movies.
I have a shows that I like put on again.
I'll watch like Bo Burnham's Inside.
Yeah.
I've seen that like probably literally like 30 or 40
I worry
times.
about
Didn't come out that long ago.
If that's your mental health is in trouble.
It's probably not that many, but I've seen it quite a few times. The first 12 seasons of The Simpsons. I'll do that with.
Simpsons, I'll do that with.
That's like the only TV show that I will do that with is The Simpsons. I've got random like stuff on like YouTube, like old concerts,
John Jones fights.
And I used to do that. I don't do that anymore. There's a guy who plays video games on Twitch, and he used to play this game called Throne of Lies, which is like a kind of a mafia. Did you guys ever play Mafia, the card game?
Yeah. It's
like that, but a board game.
Oh.
It's like somebody's lying. You got to figure out who's lying. And there's like probably 12 hours of him playing it on Twitch. And it was like during a very specific time period in my life that I watched that. And that's like the one thing that's actually like comforting. Every winter I'll watch it because it was like, it was really cold outside when I was watching it. And I'll go back to that. That was the time when I was really sick, but I'll do that.
Interesting.
But there's no movies.
I think it's tied to like mental health. Like when you're not doing well, you have like something that you like go back to because it makes you feel like safe or comfortable. Is what I've like kind of gathered.
Well,
it was your.
They
comfort.
said after 9/11. Remember 9/11?
Did you know that?
Remember?
They were making Master of Disguise.
On September 11th, 2001.
Dana Carvey was wearing the turtle.
I've learned everything about that fact against my will listening to this podcast.
Did you know that Jay-Z's album The Blueprint dropped 9/11, 2001? But after 9/11 they said like the ratings for like Seinfeld and Friends and all of those shows went way up because people were like, I don't want to think about, I don't want to have to digest something new.
The burning and the jumping and the terrorizing.
Yeah, all the yuck.
I don't want to think about, I don't have the capacity for something new, and I don't want to watch the news. I know that nothing in Seinfeld nothing bad is going to happen. So I will watch Seinfeld because like, that's at least what they thought, is it's like comforting to know, okay, at the end of the 22 minutes, whatever this problem is going to be resolved. The stakes are relatively low, There's not going to be a terrorist attack, etc. So, what was your show?
I'm just mentally unwell, I guess, is what
Right.
I've learned from this. No, no, I have a lot. I mean, like, I have Halloween movies that I watch every year, but like, my show is New Girl. I like just put it on in Parks and Recreation. I'll just put on random episodes when and I also have this thing where I hate trying to find something new to watch a lot of the time. So
Right.
there's also that feeling of like it gives me anxiety trying to like figure out what to watch. So I just put on like a comfort show,
Well,
and it's
that's
easy.
why I watch. That's why I watch old wrestling, because I'm like, I don't know about something new, but
Yeah.
I might not have ever seen Slamboree '94, but it has wrestling, and I know I like wrestling. So
Hey, there you go. And
whatever
that's
else is,
fine. And
yeah,
you do you. And there's a hole for every pig.
that's right.
Hell yeah. Do you know, but speaking of new stuff to watch, you know what I want to watch? Dirty Pop. It's that thing about how all those boy bands were getting fucked over. It's on Netflix.
Oh,
Never heard of
interesting.
that
There's a
one.
new.
Is
There's a
it?
Michael Phelps
Yeah.
documentary too that I hear is pretty good. I might
Ooh,
be
I like
checking that out.
docs. I like docs.
It's called Fast.
Yeah, just
He was
yeah,
fucking
almost as
fast.
fast as a shark is what it's called.
And it just goes to all the talking heads and everyone who's like, he was so
Really
fucking
fast.
fast, man. I can't fucking believe how fast
The whole
that
movie is
fucking
just
guy
that
was.
scene from Superbad where Seth Rogen's saying he's the that's the fastest kid alive.
That's the fastest kid alive.
All right, so real quick, 2005, big year. This movie came out August 19th, 2005. Dusty, newly 21 years old. This is a
Wow.
newly 21-year-old Dusty who went and saw this movie opening day. It was it was number yep, nailed it. Brand new, $21 million at the box office, was number one. Other movies, Red Eye, the pretty good Cillian Murphy sort of horror movie. That was a good one. Remember Juice. Wedding Crashers is still in the top 5. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp.
God.
The Dukes of
Yuck.
the Dukes of Hazzard, Andrew, for you.
Andrew.
The
Why'd you say
second hottest woman ever in a movie.
Because Jessica
is
Simpson's
the
in Dukes of Hazzard, and I know
Yeah.
how my guy rolls. So
I guess
Well,
that makes sense.
yeah, that particular Jessica Simpson is the second hottest woman ever in a movie.
When she had an eating
I'd have to think about
when
that.
she had an eating
What?
disorder is what you're saying.
Yeah.
and then top
Yeah.
top 10 of the year. Let's the top 10 of 2005. Look at this list. Not a Marvel movie in sight. Number 10, Hitch, the aforementioned Hitched.
All right. Yeah.
Saw that in the theater. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, did not see in the theater.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was an infidelity movie.
That's
huh?
the one that
Was it?
caused
Drama.
yeah.
The one that did it.
Madagascar, did not see in the movie theater.
I still haven't. I don't think I've
Nope.
seen that.
I don't think I've seen it all the way through.
No idea.
Yeah.
The next 7 movies I saw in the theater in this top 10.
In one day.
Yep, all of them back to back to back. Batman Begins, hell yeah. New
yeah,
Batman,
dude.
fuck yeah.
Another Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. The Johnny Depp Charlie and the Chocolate Factory made $206 million.
I saw it I saw it in IMAX.
I saw it in the
dude.
theater.
So
Crazy.
everybody went and saw it. Yeah.
It's
Wedding
wild.
Crashers, number 5 for the year.
Very good movie.
The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Jesus Lion, remember
It
that?
sure ain't that old BBC one, isn't it, Dusty?
Huh?
It sure ain't that old BBC one, is it?
No, God, oh man, what a terrible time! Every time I'm going to bring this up. In the 90s, that the BBC made Narnia movies where they had people trying to be the various woodland creatures, and it was like it looked like it was filmed on the side of a
What do you
hill in
mean?
Scotland. Like they had.
It was like the centaur is a man,
And he had like a paper
in a
mache
centaur
costume.
suit.
Like
and all
it was,
the
awful.
CGI when things fly away is a literal cartoon.
Like it looks like they shot it at the same location they shot Monty Python and the Holy Grail back in 1974.
Yeah.
Like they're
And you're mad, and you're still mad about it.
Well, because
I watched
yeah,
the shit.
I rented them because
when
I was
a
like,
kid.
That's the only channel you were allowed to watch.
yeah,
Andrew.
I got Wishbone and the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the terrible ones. Number 3, War of the Worlds, which kind of fucking rocks. That movie's low key pretty good.
That movie stresses me the fuck out.
The first hour of it is really, really good.
It's crazy.
Number 2, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the best Harry Potter movie.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yep. Made $273 million.
For the year?
For the year. This is a simpler time, you know. They didn't make it all in 1 week.
Look at what they did to Aslan.
I feel like I've seen this. I saw that when I was little.
How they play Aslan out like that? You just
unlocked the memory. This is wild.
Why they go play Aslan like that, dog?
How they gonna play out my man?
He got a cap on.
Why is he wearing a sleeping cap?
Pawn his cap? Is this the night before Christmas? What's happening?
He's about to be visited by 4 ghosts in the night.
He took too many Ambien. He's just fucked up.
His tongue.
It's actually the entirety of the line "The Witch in the Wardrobe" happens in his head after he takes too much Sudafed for a head cold.
He's like, fuck Turkish delight. Let's get some French toast.
I'm fucked up right now.
And that's called a
callback, ladies and gentlemen.
Callback. Thank you. Couldn't remember.
Number 1 at the box office for 2005. We know it. We don't kind of like it. Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith. $380 million worldwide.
It's the best of the first 3.
Yeah, but it's bad. That's damning with faint praise for sure. They had it in the bag, secured, and then Anakin yells no after they
dropped the ball.
Yeah, and that's it. Giant might as well be Aslan with his tongue out after that. Like the whole
I need that image like on my as a screensaver. It's beautiful.
That is deeply upsetting. Like
the cap is so confusing.
Yeah, well, he's tired. He's been saying
he's a sleepy boy.
He's been a messianic figure all day. He needs to sleep. You know.
Someone made him a lion-sized cap.
Yeah.
In his kingdom.
Yeah. Well,
it's Aslan. When Aslan wants, Aslan gets.
I want a sleeping cap. Damn it.
You son of a bitch! Yeah. Give me a sleeping cap.
How am I supposed to answer for midnight callers? Not in a sleeping cap, you assholes!
I need a sleeping cap, and I need a saucer with a candle on it. Post haste.
I don't have my sleeping cap on.
Yeah.
How do I redeem the land of Narnia if I don't get a good night's rest?
For everyone listening to this, they're very confused.
Dude.
It's a lion and a cap.
It's a terrible lion puppet wearing a nightcap. Like that looks like Mufasa after he falls out off the.
That's Mufasa.
Also, that 5 seconds. There's a Mufasa prequel Lion King movie. Don't need it. Don't want it. Don't
Nobody asked for it.
Care about it. No. Why? Why do I care about how Mufasa became the king?
Live action too, right?
Yeah, it's like the other Lion King. It's terrible. They're like, and the trailer that I saw is like a lion born without an ounce of noble blood. None of them are born with noble blood. It's a goddamn lion. Yeah,
you know who wins? You know who's the king? The fucking biggest lion.
So stupid. Like, it works.
Nobody cares
doesn't matter what your bloodline is.
Yeah, you think the other lions are taking a vote and they're like, fuck. It's Mufasa. We gotta let him.
Oh, third of his name.
Joe Jr. is gonna be the king, obviously.
King of the Andals. What the
first
fuck?
of his name. It's so stupid.
King of the
because Lion King is a retelling of Hamlet, right? So that works. That's why they have a Lion King. But the whole thing. So this is a prequel, some prequel to Hamlet. I don't got it. I don't care about this at all.
That's my favorite smart marks trope, by the way.
Thank you. How hard, how hard you have to try for your movie to be a thing that I say I don't got it for.
So you're not gonna go?
No, I will not go.
Ooh.
I'll probably go. I don't know.
I choose not to run.
I'll probably end up going. There'll be like a second trailer.
Go.
Yeah, there'll be a second trailer, and I'll be like, "Oh shit, young Scar! I got to see what he's up to." The
He's gonna, Dusty's just gonna wake up in the movie.
Yeah, they're gonna get me. They're gonna get me somehow. It'll be on.
Oh man, this screenshot here. We got to stop trying to make things look real, man. Like, oh
No,
man,
I know.
fuck. The video started playing.
No, it's bad.
No, I want the screenshot. What happened? There it is. Look at that fucking thing.
It's not a lion. It's certainly
Why
not
do we
a
need
lion.
to keep like making
No.
uncanny valley bullshit? Stop trying to make everything look cool. Make it like Lion King in the 90s looked like a lot more similar to the fucking Snow White, which was made in like the 40s, right? And now we're like, no, it needs to look real. And it's like, no, it fucking doesn't, man. It's better when it doesn't.
For it. Nobody asked
no,
for
it's
it.
a callous cash grab. Guess what? I don't got it.
I don't got it.
I don't got it.
Look at a sad lion.
Yeah, and then like his dad will probably die. Like some that his parents are dead for some reason, even though he's a cat.
That's not a realistic lion either.
Yeah, even though he's a lion, and I'm supposed to be like, oh shit, this is the lion that gets killed in the other movie that I like.
Yeah, you want me to care about this guy? He's gonna die.
Yeah.
On the poster, they're trying to do the Phantom Menace thing, where it's Anakin, but his shadow is Darth Vader.
Mufasa's fine. He's not cool. He's not Darth goddamn Vader level
and he's
cool.
not that interesting. Like that's why we were able to move on in the movie when he died. Nobody really cared.
Nobody wants him to be the Lion King.
So do you guys think Orphan Outsider King is flaccid, or does that get you going a little bit?
Not if it's a cat. In Game of Thrones, for a long time, it did. That
I mean, I'm still watching House of the Dragon. You know what I mean?
I told Kai the other day I lost my dragon boner.
I wish he hadn't said it. I wish he hadn't. I didn't ask for that.
Yeah, you put that in the universe to unwilling participants.
I will attempt to recapture my dragon boner. I will watch I heard episode 7's all right, so I'll watch it.
So many of my conversations with Andrew, I'm like, why did we phrase it like that? Why did you have to say it like that?
Because it's funny.
He's not
funny over everything.
He's not used to being around people. He's only socialized with me, essentially. You know?
Yeah, me so horny. That's funny, right?
You're so stupid. All right.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna bring this back. We're gonna get tired Aslan back on the
screen. He's such a sleepy boy. All right. Thank you to everybody who listens. This is the first of 2 movies that are my choices. I don't think I'm taking as big an L next week. We'll see what happens. Next week we're watching Tropic Thunder, the much-awaited review of Tropic Thunder.
This will be a better movie.
And
this will be a better
movie. I obviously want to thank Kai, our good buddy, for being on this episode.
Good. Oh, I made it to good.
Good buddy.
That's nice to know.
Yeah, the 2 hours put you over the top.
There were fine buddies on both sides.
Petition for you guys to do romantic comedies in the future. Thank you so much. That's all I have to say. Like a When Harry Met Sally situation, like a.
I'm putting While You Were Sleeping in the.
While You Were Sleeping situation. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you wanted to, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Is Dumb and Dumber romantic comedy?
Between 2 men, this is all relationships. All of these movies are about men's relationships with each other, trying to form bonds with each other.
Yeah, shocking that the 2 dudes came up with comedies about.
I don't know what you want I don't know what you want in this situation.
Yeah,
sorry, I really tried to weigh all the movies that I could. I'm doing
real quick. Let's do the dozen.
Oh, okay.
I've never done it with you guys.
I know. That's why we're gonna do the dozen. The dozen is Barstool's trivia game. It's got 9 questions. The first 3 are always about sports. The rest are about general American culture. We're gonna start with NFL. Corin Robinson and Bobby Ingram each had 1,000+ yard receiving seasons for what NFC team during the 2000s? Dusty, I've got no.
New Orleans Saints.
Oh, sure.
Are we letting Kai? All right.
Are the Saints an NFC team?
They are an NFC team.
No, I don't know. All right, she was wrong. She's wrong as shit. NBA. This center won NBA championships with the Warriors and Lakers before winning a gold medal with Team USA at the 2020
Austin?
Olympics.
Sorry, I thought I heard my daughter.
Who played on the Warriors?
Is it Austin?
Yeah, I was like, Austin didn't play on the
Andrew
Lakers.
Wiggins?
Andrew Wiggins.
Gold medal Team USA.
He's a guy, right?
I don't think.
Anthony Wiggins?
No, I don't think.
I hope it's
Aaron Wiggins?
Steve Wiggins.
Is it? It's not Andrew Bynum, is it? No, it's not Andrew Bynum.
Pau Gasol.
Who was the center for the Warriors and Lakers? The fucking who won? I don't know. We'll go Aaron Wiggins. That's the closest thing to.
Nope.
No, wrong as shit.
Couldn't be more wrong.
MLB. John Axford, I already know who this is, totaled 105 saves as the closer for this NL team from 2010 to 2012 and was the 2011 Rolaids
reliever of the year. Rolaids, as in like the antacid?
Yeah. The relieves things. You guys know
I
it?
do not.
It's the
Pittsburgh Pirates. That's what I was going to say.
No!
I was wrong! What? What the fuck? Who the fuck else did he play for? He for sure played for the Pirates. I was sure about. All right,
wrestling.
It's not.
So
who else did John Axford play for? Okay, the host of the 2006 Winter Olympics in what European country is the city of Turin located?
Is that in Italy?
I'm so bad
I
at
was gonna guess
geography.
Greece.
I mean, wherever you want to go.
Greece for Winter Olympics?
It's the Winter Olympics. I am going to retract. Well, who is it?
Spain?
Hosted Nagano, Japan.
No, there's no
hosted,
Turin,
but
Japan.
They're Turin in Japan. I'm
Turin?
just saying they hosted the Winter Olympics.
Turin sounds.
Is it
Turin. What did you say earlier, Dusty?
Italy?
It's like
I
Scandinavian.
feel like Italy sounds right.
All right,
Are
we'll
they
go
from
Italy.
Holland?
But that's.
Is that
I'm
weird?
blaming it on Dusty if it's wrong.
I mean,
I got,
Hey!
I got it right.
That's
I got
not
it.
even a
I got it.
wrestling
I
question.
got it right.
USA, USA.
Italy.
This is chain restaurants. The Patty Melt, sweet and spicy bacon burger, and honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich are listed under all-time favorites at this originally regional fast food chain.
Is this Wendy's? No, Patty Melt.
I was gonna say
Freddy's?
Sonic. No, Sonic's
Sonic.
not regional. I have no idea.
Freddy's has a Patty Melt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Freddy's has a Patty Melt.
Or Rallies. Is it Rallies?
Ooh, Rally.
Ah, nope.
We tried Freddy's. It was wrong. Celebrity mashup.
Oh,
Goddamn, that is George Lucas
George.
and I will
Anna
not-
Paquin.
Anna Paquin.
wow.
All right.
Mhm.
See, I might have face blindness. I don't know who anyone is.
See, you got to get the George Lucas.
Anna
That chin
Anna
is-
Paquin's got the gap in her teeth.
I don't care what George Lucas looks like. He's
I know, but he's a fucking weird. He looks like a Star Wars character.
wow.
Nice
Yeah.
job.
Great work, guys.
Thank
Television.
you.
The first FX series to earn a Best Actor in a Drama Emmy nomination and win this.
What?
When was this crime? The first FX series to earn a Best Actor in a Drama Emmy nomination and when was this crime drama in 2002? This is a
I
shitty
believe
question.
that is
FX.
The Shield.
The Shield?
Actually what I would have guessed. So let's see how this goes. Look at
Hey.
you.
Nice,
Hey.
Dusty.
I like The Shield. I like wrestling. I like The Shield.
Thought it was Sons of Anarchy. So.
This is movies. A 10-year-old musical prodigy leaves his orphanage and runs away to New York City in this 2007 musical drama starring Freddie Highmore, Kerry Russell, and Robin Williams.
This is. Do you know what it is, Kai?
No.
Popeye.
It is August Rush. Is the name of this
No.
movie?
Whoa. Never heard of that movie in my
Goddamn.
entire life.
You could have given me. You could have given
Yep.
me you could have put me against 1,000 monkeys with typewriters, and I would have lost to the
I
monkeys.
like
probably.
wrestling, and I used to work at a video store. So
And
that is
August
true.
Rush.
Music. After beginning his career in the 1990s, this rapper released hits in the 2000s like "Hey Ma," "Oh Boy," and "Horse and Carriage."
Wait.
I don't know this. one.
Cameron.
yeah, I guess Chamillionaire every time. So I don't know.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
double dip John Axford. Okay,
No one celebrated my
I'm gonna
question.
double dip this motherfucker John
You gotta,
Axford.
you gotta
I know,
gas
great
yourself
job.
up.
Great job.
You know?
Great
Great
job.
job, Kai.
And I'm gonna try the Washington Nationals, and I might still be wrong. Got it wrong. What the fuck?
Double L.
Wait, I wanted the percentage.
The Brewers. Huh?
Brewers. That's a real team.
The Milwaukee
Yeah.
Brewers.
Do they brew coffee or tea or beer?
No, it's
Beer.
beer for sure. It's Wisconsin.
Beer.
Oh yeah.
Chain restaurants was Whataburger.
Whataburger.
Nope. Sure.
Lame.
NBA, that's JaVale McGee. I know who that is. He always looks sad. Kind of looks like a lion.
Like a sleeping lion?
Like a single.
Yeah, he kind of looks like. It kind of looks like. It kind of looks like this fucking guy, right?
It's taking too long. Here it is.
Now imagine if that guy could dunk.
Oh, I did already.
Yeah.
That guy can wherever he is, he can dunk. I can tell you that. He's like, I fucking took it to the hole.
That line looks like it has the novel coronavirus. He was apparently Narnia is not far from Wuhan.
I called them. He ate a bat. The lion ate a bat.
The lion, the bat, and the wardrobe is what happened to that guy.
Oh man, who gave Aslan the vaccine?
I gotta go, guys.
I was talking to the lady who owns the radio station building, our landlord, today on the phone. She called me, and I was like, "How you doing?" She goes, "I have COVID." I went, "Cool,
stay away from me."
Sick. Yeah. That's super awesome. Hell yeah.
Should have been like Corona 19. COVID-19?
Yeah, COVID-19, right? The 19th one?
The novel coronavirus from 2019?
So, anyway.
All right.
That's been Snark
Yeah.
Marks.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kai. We appreciate everybody who listens. Hit the YouTube so Andrew doesn't go insane.
Yeah. God damn it. Or Aslan dies.
Next week, we see
I
what happens.
I think that lion is ready to die.
I told you, he has COVID. It's unfortunate, but it happens. He has lion.
It's really kicking. It's really kicking my
He has
ass.
lion COVID. He needs ivermectin to help him. So.
Or no, he just looks like he ate his owner's sock.
Or he's just doing that thing that cats do sometimes where they throw up for no goddamn reason at all.
Or when your cat's asleep and you think it's dead and you're like poking it and it's like not waking up. You're like, oh, no, wake up.
You shake the shit out of them and they just...
It's like, why were you shaking the shit out of me?
I was just hanging out, dog.
You guys.
All right. Anyway, goodbye, everyone. Snark Marks Podcast. We're very funny. We told you.
He just fucking... What?